Give it just a sec here.
Oh,
okay. So we are officially live. So it'll take a minute, obviously, to populate everywhere. We're live. This is the most like places I've been. We're on mine, Kyle's, both of our YouTubes, Tyler's. We're like on 8 places
Tyler,
right now.
I just got a notification that you just went live.
oh,
blown up
wow.
the internet.
Imagine that. You're like one of the only people who ever gets notifications.
Oh, that's not true.
Dude.
So now you guys see there how it says
I'm like an OG follower, dude.
Well, I know.
So
I'm just saying, I have like some of my best friends who are like, "Oh, I never get your notifications anymore." I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Algorithm.
That's right.
So they're not best friends.
We're not. No.
That just proves that we're not best friends.
Yeah. So if you guys go up to the top, you can see, like, hover over the little eyeball, and then everybody's popping on there. eveRide, Backcountry Adventure. So everybody's coming in from everywhere right now. So guys,
cool. As
you are hopping on, everybody, leave a comment. Let us know where you are. Do not ask your questions yet. Please don't ask questions, because we won't be able to follow.
We're just here, hang out, talk motorcycles.
Yeah.
And, meet some people virtually.
There's a lot of people.
Hashimoto, I know Mr. Craig D.
Hey.
I know these people. I love these people.
Why am I not seeing
Kove City?
There we go.
It's just the Kove and the Tenere back there, so people could see the differences.
Craig D, thanks for coming on, bud.
Oh crap!
I wonder what the delay is on this. Some great falls. Look at that.
Yeah, we're about to blow up. All because of Tyler.
I don't think it's because I don't think anybody follows me anymore.
No, nobody. You have no followers. Nobody watches your videos.
Wow, West Virginia. Look at that. That's awesome. 9:00 at night. Good for you.
Oh, nice.
Thanks for being on.
That's why we did it this time.
That buddy.
Let's see.
Mr. Dale from Wyoming.
Okay, we'll give it just another minute here, guys, as everybody's coming on board before we start kicking it off.
Just FYI, I don't have some kind of weird disease. Kyle has nice lighting. Other Kyle has nice lighting. I've got
okay.
I'm just
so Tyler's
got a small head.
I've got a small head and it's pure beet red. This is how I look all the time.
Tyler literally just got off a motorcycle like less than an hour ago.
These guys tried to get me on the live stream while I was having myself a little break in the bathroom, and I probably shouldn't bring that up. But...
You're like, oh wait, yes, my face is still red from pushing hard.
Oh geez.
Oh my gosh.
Where now? Yeah, tell us where are you at again, Tyler, right now?
I am in a place called Teasdale, Utah, and maybe should I will it show?
That's let's see what you got going on.
Yeah,
it's the view is dumb on this camera, but it's just spectacular out there. So yeah.
And what do you got going on there? What are you doing at the moment?
Hashimoto gave a poop emoji.
That poop emoji needs to have like a face, not like
get rid of that now, or does it stay up there, Kyle?
No. Nobody can see the comments unless. Oh yeah, I see. You just go to you see.
Yeah.
Hide.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Jersey.
For the record, none of us here are professionals at this. This is like a first time. Maybe Kyle.
Yeah, I'm a professional. What are you talking about? Just kidding. Look at this guy. He is in Los Angeles. Yeah, that's right. That's the new name for Bozeman, Montana. Los Angeles now.
That's about right.
No.
Yeah.
Californians that have moved there.
Oh, Mr. Somers.
If you're from California, raise your hand. No, just kidding. I tell everybody, I'm like, if you're from California, you ride dirt bikes and you shoot guns and you like freedom, move to Montana and Idaho.
Yeah, or Utah. You're welcome. You're.
Yeah, or Utah. Anywhere else? Yeah, just stay away. We don't need you.
That's basically how
Well,
North Idaho is too now.
dude, for real. Like so many. Oh, look at all these people. This is awesome, guys. This guy, look what this guy said. Call me Wes. Tyler is the reason I got my DRZ.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to get the Kove. Nice.
Dude, the Kove and the DRZ are kind of like right in the same genre. They're like very, very similar, but the Kove just does more on either end, I think.
So what explain that to me, because I have never ridden a DRZ. In fact, are you talking about the DRZ 400?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I just saw one today actually, and I was like, I think this is the one Tyler was talking about. And they're like,
Tyler,
yeah,
the only DRZ I've ever ridden was your Black Widow when I came to visit. That's the only one ever.
What did you think? It's pretty good.
It's for a 100-year-old bike or however old it is, yeah.
That thing probably had 50,000 miles on it. When
Oh, absolutely. That thing has been
around
the world without ever leaving St. George, Utah.
That's pretty much true.
So the DRZ, explain what that. I mean, we'll just kind of get into this, then we'll get kicked off because I like I said, I've never ridden one, don't know anything about it.
Sure. So in my opinion, like the DRZ is a bike that's right in the middle. Like, it's like just as good in the dirt as it is on the road, and it's not super awesome either way. Whereas you have dual sports like the KTM 500, which in my opinion are like one step behind the 300 two-stroke, and some people would disagree, but gosh, that bike is super capable off-road.
Yes,
but
it is.
As for dual sports off-road, that's the king, and it probably always will be. It's incredible.
The 500.
Yeah. For dual sports anyway. But the DRZ is it's just right in the middle. And I think the Kove is almost like the DRZ2. It's like what DRZ owners have wanted since like the year 2000. Does it feel similar? Does a little more. Yeah, the DRZ kind of feels heavy, and it feels like it'll just kind of plow over or through whatever it does. It feels kind of chuggy down low, and the Kove feels the exact same. Not the exact same. I think the Kove feels a little better off-road. It's got, I think, better suspension. But man, on the road, the Kove is like right up there with, I think it's better than a KLR on the road.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and you know how KLR is good. You can go around the world on a KLR. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
people bash the KLR, man, but I don't know why. That bike it's tried and true, and I don't know about the newest version. I haven't really ridden one of those, but the old KLR, man, it's for a turd of a bike, man. It will go anywhere you want it to. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, I'm nothing against them. They're not made to be a high performance motorcycle. They're made to last, and that's what they do.
Yeah. So
I'm so glad you guys are on here because I don't know anything about those bikes. I've never ridden a KLR. I've never ridden a DRZ.
It's funny.
I know nothing.
You're the.
I know lots about snow bikes.
Strictly dirt bikes.
Yeah, I've never ridden a snow bike, so we kind of have.
You're gonna have to come up to Montana, Tyler.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we kind of have a good gamut here because Kyle, you're normally on a big bike.
This is why
you're normally on a dirt bike, and I'm in the middle with the dual sports. So
that's right.
Cool. That's good.
I mean,
this is why we put this together. Holy moly!
We thought it through.
Cover the bases.
That's right. All right. Well, we'll get it kicked off. We got people still joining, whatever. It's fine. So everybody, thanks again for joining. We are live here in my shop in Kalispell, Montana. As you can see, there's a plethora of bikes behind me. I'll give you guys a little tour here in a minute. And then we're followed with, we got Kyle Cooper, my buddy, over in the Coeur d'Alene area. Kyle is in his little badass podcast video editing studio. And then we got Tyler from probably why most people are here, Tyler from eveRide. So for those of you who don't know who Tyler is, you probably do. So I don't even probably need to introduce Tyler other than for the Snowbike Nation crew. The interesting thing about snowbiking, guys, is there's a lot of people getting involved in snowbiking that aren't really like moto people. And so you've got this like eclectic mix of people that are coming from like snowmobiles to snow biking, and then the dirt bikers are coming to snow biking. So there's just a lot of people. So I think at the moment, Tyler, you probably have more, or at least some of the most experience on the Kove 450 thus far, I would say. Is that probably pretty fair?
Probably not of anybody out there, but yeah. I was just on it today for about 4 hours. Yeah.
So, well, cool. I'll introduce kind of talk about myself real quick, and then we'll have Kyle and Tyler go. So I'm up in Montana. I do snow bike tours in the wintertime. It's kind of how I got my start, going in my 4th season. And then we do dirt bike tours in the summer, also e-bikes and some other stuff. I also do have dual sports. I got into that last year, actually, after talking to Kyle. We're going to have to, KC and KA, we got to figure something out after talking to Bam.
Bam is good.
There we go, Bam. After talking to Bam about the dual sport stuff, I bought a 5 Tenere 700s. And then I sold 3 and ended up with 2 of them. And, hopping on them for the first time as a dirt biker, having really no experience on a dual sport bike, I felt instantly comfortable and just was like, wow, this is a really fun bike, but it's freaking heavy. And it just,
and when you say dual sport, you mean your T7s?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't consider that a dual sport.
No, that's an adventure bike.
Okay. Adventure bike. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. See, I don't even know the terminology, guys. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It works either way. Honestly, you can say it's whatever it is. Nobody really knows. Yeah.
Yeah. They're interchangeable. So, a V-Strom is not the new V-Strom. The old V-Strom is an adventure bike / dual sport too, but it's just a different class. It just depends on how you look at it,
So a heavy ass, big ass dual sport bike. Yeah.
That's not even,
I hopped on
light compared to what I ride.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hopped on that and was just like, yeah, this is fun, but I really have zero interest in riding on the highway or roads, dirt roads. Yeah, it's okay, but I really want to just find the gnarliest, nastiest, that we ride single track dirt biking. That's what we do up here in Montana, and that's our jam. So, it was fun, but it just still wasn't my gig. So I started following the Kove 450 last year and was like, ooh, that looks interesting. Maybe we can add that to the roster.
So I'll show you guys. Let me.
There we go.
So I'll show you guys real quick. This is got the Kove, the Tenere 700, KTM 450 XCFW. That's the 2023, and then some snow bikes and a bunch of other shit, and more stuff that way. So that's actually the Sur-Ron Ultra B over there. So we'll be riding that soon.
The 500.
Oh yeah, the BRC 500. You guys don't know what that is. That is a gas 300 with the BRC 500 motor. Other than that, everything else is the exact same. I did put the bigger gas tank. And right? Kyle and I are going to ride that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a 2-stroke, guys.
That sounds like what you would want for snow biking, honestly.
That is exactly.
Oh, that's why that is in the fleet.
Oh, nice.
That's 77 horsepower with the snow bike pipe.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's actually really fun as a dirt bike. It weighs 8 pounds more than a 300 2-stroke, but I wanted to find the perfect snow bike and single track dirt bike. And I would say the BRC 500 is it. It's still, when I'm riding really gnarly stuff, I like the 300. I like that lightness. But dude, the 500, that BRC 500 2-stroke, because it has it's the EC 300 transmission, so it has the same transmission. But dude, when you twist that throttle, bro, you better hang on to your freaking balls, because that thing will. I shot off the trail a couple times just on accident, okay, I gotta slow down here. So it's really fun. So Kyle and I are also going to be riding that. Bam and I are going to be riding that. So that's what I do, guys. So I'm gonna turn it over to Bam here, Kyle Cooper, and let him introduce himself and what he does, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, not near as much stuff as what you do, but yeah. So Kyle Cooper, I live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and it's a pretty good mecca for adventure bikes. There's also a crap ton of single track here for the more dirt bike enthusiasts. I have a 450X. It's not really a single track bike by any means, but that's what I do with it sometimes. But we're not here to talk about that. So I ride, most of you might know me from riding the Africa Twin for years and years. And I was the first person to own one in the Northwest in 2016. And my serial number was like 126 or something, like super low for like the whole world, essentially.
I like to call that the rocket ship couch. That's what it felt like when I rode it.
Well, when you rode it, it was heavily modded, but yeah, it was a super fun bike. Owned it, up until just this past April. Thought I would own it forever, but I just kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit. I do a lot of longer rides. Basically what Kyle doesn't like to do. I take, I've ridden from Canada to Mexico on all gravel roads. I've ridden, all the BDRs for the most part, except the Oregon one and Colorado. And well, most of Colorado, at least, not the whole thing. But anyway, so I like to do the longer trips. That's just my jam. I like to use the venture bike as kind of a hotel on wheels, camp off of it, all that good stuff, carry the gear, be totally self-sufficient. And for me, the adventure bike platform is my jam, like I said. So you could do it on dual sport, absolutely. Like a DR 650 or XR 650 would absolutely work for those. Just for the long trip, they're just not as comfortable, to be honest. So I'm 40 years old, so I like to be comfortable now. Why be uncomfortable when you can have the option to do more comfortable stuff on the highway to get where you want to go? And then now I've got a GSA. Completely different bike than what the AT is, in good ways and bad ways in some ways. I just got done taking the GSA up to some of the high passes on the Alpine Loop in Colorado. And so it's totally capable to do things like that. It's just a little bit more work, and with a little bit more practice and skill, I think just about anybody could take those bikes. They're super capable. I mean, they can go just about anywhere that you can take them. I mean, they've clearly been around the world. So that's kind of what I do now. Most of my trips are going to be, multi-day camping trips off the bike in the backcountry, away from, civilization, and just being self-sufficient. So that's what I like to do. And if anybody ever wants to join me, hit me up, because I'm always looking for people to ride with.
Hell yeah. Tyler. So, and just so before we introduce Tyler, just so everyone knows, so Kyle and I first met at a veterans. We're both, Army vets, and we met at a snow bike ride that I hosted called with Veterans Back 40 Adventures, which, by the way, guys, if you're a vet, so go on my website, snowbikenation.com, put in your email and stuff there, and then we'll be posting more stuff. We're planning to do at least one snow bike vet ride this year, and then next year dirt bike and dual sport rides and adventure and all that shit. So hopefully we can be fun if we can hook up with Tyler as well, but Kyle and I for sure will be doing some of those since we're so close. So Kyle and I met there. We went snow biking, and then, he's talking to me about the adventure bike stuff. And I literally have only been riding with Kyle one time on the adventure bikes. And it was when we did the Fieldcraft survival thing down in Bozeman. Oh, yeah. And then we went and rode adventure bikes, and it was pretty fun. I was a little bored, but that was all right. It was fun. And it was kind of a boring initial ride, but it was fun once we got to the creek. The creek was
fun. For the record, that was not my fault. I was not the guide on that one.
No. And then we went, and then I took Kyle dirt biking. We went on the 302 strokes the next day, and he was just like, yeah, you had a lot of fun, dude.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
I hadn't been on a two-stroke in probably like 15 years at that point. So to get on that 300 gas, that brand new 300 gas and go up stuff that I wouldn't even hike up was pretty awesome.
How was the translation? What did you think?
It was so easy to ride.
Huge, heavy bikes. You probably just walked up that stuff on a two-stroke.
So one thing that you would think, right? But one thing that I noticed is the deflection, right? So the lighter two strokes, or even my 450, hitting stuff technical stuff, you get deflected a lot easier than what you do with a big bike. You just plow through that shit. I mean, you just give it gas, hold on and go and get through the obstacle. And then, you know, hopefully that you didn't break anything on the way through it. So, but I mean, two strokes are super fun. I mean, I that's like my next bike for sure. But I will say that I'm a little bit timid on them because it takes some getting used to be able to hop on and, you know, you hit a rock this big and you get pushed a foot and a half to the right where, you know, a 500-600 pound motorcycle just goes right over it and doesn't even hardly feel it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the difference too is like once you do ride a lot, when you hit that stuff, obviously you're learning how to go up and over it, and
You get
that's
used to
why.
it, yeah, like anything else.
Like you guys see IRC tire
Rich
guy. We had Rich
Larson,
Larson
baby.
up here. Yeah, he came up here a couple of weeks ago, and we did a clinic. Oh, I just had a great idea, Tyler. Let's get you and Rich here. Rich is gonna come snow biking with me. We'll get you here. We'll get Kyle, dude. That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
That would be so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Rich is like next level. You watch that guy, and you're just like, bro, like,
oh yeah,
this never happening.
When he started making tutorial videos, I'm like, I'm out of this segment. Like, he knows everything. Like, he's incredible.
Dude, I told him, I was like, listen, dude, I've done a lot of different training in my life, and I'm like, you like took it to a whole new level. He's so methodical, but dude, he loves it. I mean, that's his jam, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, all right, let's turn it over to Tyler. We're already 20 minutes into this. This is what happens. You just keep BSing, but it's fun. So Tyler from eveRide down in Utah. Tyler, tell us who you are, man, and what your shtick is here.
I don't know. I am a guy that likes to ride dual sports.
So one thing I forgot to mention, guys, that I think would be helpful for everyone watching this is how long we've been riding and what did we start with. So I started riding about 8 years ago, but I grew up mountain biking, like single track, cross country, hardcore, as gnarly as I could do mountain biking. So it was an easy transition to single track dirt biking because it's just like, oh, now I got power to go up everything. This is awesome. So I'm 7-8 years into it. So Kyle, what about you?
I mean, I rode dirt bikes and four-wheelers as a kid all the time, but then I didn't really ride from like, say, high school all the way until I was probably 24, I guess. Being in the military and deployments and all that stuff, I just wasn't on riding motorcycles at all. But then I get home from a deployment, and then it was an awesome outlet for me to hop on a motorcycle, go get lost in the woods. And I mean, I called it like throttle therapy or dirt therapy. You know, it was a way to get out and kind of unwind and all that. So I've been riding pretty regularly ever since then. Like a lot of people who on adventure bikes, you know, that movie Long Way Around kind of got me thinking that was going to be me. I'm going to do that on anything. And that's kind of what I did moving forward is like, I kind of got the bug just to get out and travel. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
What is that movie? What it is?
Oh my gosh. Do I even know you right now?
I told you, dude.
Oh no. Watch the numbers of people who are here and watch them.
People are starting to get real pissed in the comments, dude.
I mean, whatever, dude. Like I said, is that the one with Ewan McGregor? Or?
Yes. Charlie Borman.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have seen that. I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. Redeemed. We're good.
Okay. Redeemed. All right.
I started watching Long Way Around. Loved that. Thought, oh, the GS is amazing. And then I saw it was like a $20,000 bike, and I was like, no, I'm poor. And so I found a KLR 650 for like $1,800, and got that. Loved it. Got a DRZ for my wife. Quickly made it so it wasn't for my wife; it was me. It's mine. And you buy them for your wife. But
I've never done that.
It just kind of started from there. I've still have that DRZ. It's been rebuilt now, and it's just having so many problems. Recently, we had a clutch cable burn up. That was thankful. There's a guy in the comments here named oh my gosh, a huge brain fart, Craig, who actually fixed that clutch cable for me out on a rally here in Teasdale where I'm out right now. But anyway, and I've just been addicted to dual sport. I love riding dirt bikes, adventure bikes. Not so much. I really enjoyed having a KTM 1190, but and I love getting out on adventures. But I've got health and mental things where I don't like to be away from my family for a super long time. So I like to do stuff where I'm close to home. I know that's probably looked down on in the community where it's like, oh, like when Kyle was like, I like to get out there and like bushcraft and survival and make it happen. I'm like, I wish I was like that. That's so awesome. But you just do what you do. You do what you like to do, and man, I like showers and toilets and soft beds. That's how I mean,
enough, dude.
Okay,
I like those.
Just a heads up, okay? And some of the guys in the comments know what I'm talking about. Like I saw Michael Varness in the comments, okay? The first eveRide loop rally that we did and came to Teasdale and stuff, we camped. Oh man, this is embarrassing to say. We camped for one night, and then we were frozen because we all just done like 30 river crossings. And then we camped for one night, and we were like, forget this whole camping thing, dude. Let's get a hot tub. Anyway, now the eveRide loop idea is just bougie. We stay in a nice Airbnb.
Dude, I can appreciate that. We're not big on camping when we go snow biking, so I can appreciate that.
We should though. We should do that.
I can imagine snow bike camping would be something else. So yeah. Anyway, Kyle's over there like, dude, you're missing
Let's
out.
do it.
I know
Absolutely,
I am.
let's do it. We'll ride up to Blue
We'll get
Cabin
Tyler
over
out
here.
for one day. So when did you start then, Tyler? When did you start riding? How many years ago?
Sorry. Yeah, about 10 years ago. Yeah.
10. Okay.
And
so you're kind of, I mean, you're newer to it as well, like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watched Long Way Around and watched Half Throttle. Man, I love Half Throttle.
That's a good one too.
I wish you'd still make content. Oh my, you watched that, dude.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got to make a movie list apparently for me.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, well, there's more to that. So Tyler, when did you start making the YouTube videos?
I took a cue from Half Throttle and started making YouTube videos about the same time, 10 years ago. And I'm super starstruck by Half Throttle even now. Like if I've met him a couple of times, and every time I'm like, oh, you are the guy. Like he's legendary to me. Like most people be like, they'd see Tom Cruise or something and be like, whoa, it's Tom Cruise. I wouldn't care if I saw Tom Cruise. If I see Ryan Grassley, oh my gosh, it's Half Throttle again. You know,
that's funny that's funny you mentioned that, man, because do you remember me having a conversation with you on the phone when I was getting started? Like you were my like YouTube idol, Tyler. You don't remember that, huh?
I should not be anybody's anything.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like you were out. Your whole thing was like, you're just a normal guy out riding. I'm like, that's me. I want to be a normal guy out riding. So then like you gave me some like tips on how to get a YouTube channel started. And here we are. Like, I don't know how many years later that is. I think 2012. No.
Is that when you started, Kyle?
2016 was my first video. Yeah. 2016, wow. 15 was my first video.
That is cool.
So anyway, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. And then when we traveled full time, you got to stay at your Moto Mansion house. That was pretty awesome. Remember parking our giant RV in your driveway?
And your super cute kids, who I'm sure they're all like mega grown up now. It's weird.
My oldest is 15 now, yeah. So anyway, let's talk about dirt bikes because
that sounds good.
Here we are 30 minutes into this.
Real quick. Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, we do whatever we want. So Tyler, you're down in Utah. You have a Moto Mansion. What the hell is the Moto Man? I mean, I want to come down there now. I had never even heard of this. So you got a Moto Mansion, and what's the deal down there?
So the Moto Mansion is it's just a basement. I mean, but it's a walkout basement at least. But it's pretty nice. There's it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom basement. So but we've got like a movie theater screen down there. It's not like a bougie movie theater like there's in some houses, but we got a roll down screen and a little projector, and we got massage chair and some hot tubs. So
Ooh,
it's more about
chair.
like comfort than like actual like super bougie, you know. And Moto Mansion is just alliteration. It's not actually a mansion. So
Right. And so people people can book the Moto Mansion, bring their bikes or rent them and then go on these rides.
yeah. So they come down to Southwest Utah, and recently, like this year, we started doing some just trails and kind of scouting this loop up here near Capitol Reef, and man, that's been incredible. In fact, I'm looking outside right now, and there's just like this amazing cloud. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. This place is incredible.
And so do you just have one Kove right now?
Oh yeah. I've thought about getting more, but you know, the whole rental bike thing. I mean, before we started the live stream, I mentioned there were some Imperial entanglements, and you know, I just want to stay as under the radar with everything as I can. So rentals, guided tours. I don't guide anymore per se.
Right.
Yeah, let's just say sometimes the
touring I can tell you it's a pain in
cutthroat, and
it's a pain in the ass. And lots of insurance. I don't even want to tell you how much insurance I pay for all this. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't understand. They're like, oh, well, like, why don't you rent them or why don't you do this? So I can appreciate that. So you have the one Kove. So talk to us about, because Tyler, you've got the most Kove experience. So you first rode this in March of this year. I don't know the exact month, but that's when your video came out. February. Was in March of 23. Mm-hmm. Oh, was it February? Okay. So you got to spend a week on the bike?
Yeah. So I spent a week on it and was just like boggled. Like it was crazy good. And then I doubt myself all the time. So, I'm writing this script and I'm like, man, maybe I'm overhyping this bike. And then we were having another rally, and Gary, the U.S. importer, brought him down again, and I jumped back on it, and I was like, no, it really is like an awesome bike. Like, so yeah.
Because your type of riding down there is really like your guys' jam is the dual sport stuff. Like you're not riding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like the 300 two-strokes aren't really ideal for what you guys are doing because it's a little bit for longer distances and it's not super narrow, or no?
Well, Southwest Utah is phrase that comes to mind is the world is your oyster. If you adventure riding, dual sporting, it's the most gnarliest two-stroke stuff you want to do. It has everything. So, it was. When Gary brought it back, we were on a solid rally, and I was taking that thing, ripping on single track trails just as good as anybody else on their 300s and 500s and 450s, and everybody was kind of like, holy crap, can I ride that? And people got on it, and I think pretty much just about everybody who rode the bike said, I'll probably buy this.
Yeah.
Craig in the comments, Michael Varness, I know you're in the comments. Michael bought one. Craig's texting me continually saying he's, trying to sell his bike so he could get one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's all it takes is for people to ride, and then it's kind of like, whoa, I didn't expect that. So,
and Kyle actually, Bam, brought up something we didn't even talk about this in the beginning. Dude, you said let's address the Chinese, whole built in China thing, and I think that's important. And you touched upon this too, Tyler. And I think it's one of those things. Like at this point, like everybody in America, like we're buying a lot of stuff from China, guys. We'll go to Walmart, go anywhere, shop anywhere, right? We're buying stuff from China. Like that's just the reality. Now, even the KTMs and the bikes that we're riding and all these, they got stuff made in China that are those parts. So like, I think it's kind of not a very like even a fair or even a good argument to be like, well, the bike's made in China. Don't buy shit in China. It's like, well, don't buy anything at this
Chinese bikes just have a bad rap, right? Because they in the past have been made kind of cheap. GPX kind of in a way kind of turn that around a little bit, because they're, for the most part, when it comes to dirt bikes, they're not a bad, inexpensive, and you've ridden them too, Tyler, right? So they're not a bad bike. Yeah. They're not a bad bike out of the box. I mean, there's things you need to do before the assembly quality, I think, is worse than the build quality, I would say. So I when you get one of those bikes out of the box, you have to definitely, go through everything and make sure that it was assembled correctly, tight, and all that good stuff. But as far as the engine and the suspension goes, a lot of those China bikes, as down by the river says, a lot of those bikes are there you go. A lot of those bikes are actually pretty dang good. And if you think about Asia in general, a lot of those all those cities and the major cities there, that's their form of transportation. So Kove has been around. GPX has been around for a long time, and they've just gotten better and better. And I'm, red blood American, right? Military.
Jake makes a good point there.
Yeah.
We're all watching this and using microphones and everything that we have.
DJI camera.
Right? But like I'm saying, like I'm patriotic American, but if China makes a kick-ass dirt bike and children aren't putting it together and it's all made, well, without having anybody being hurt by it, then by all means, if it's good for the market. And I'm going to just say it now. Like, my biggest hope for this bike is that somebody else like Yamaha or Honda or KTM even, or anybody like that comes out and be like, hey, this bike is selling like crazy. We need to do this. And it just makes it better for everybody.
Yes, that would be incredible.
If they take that Tenere 700 and they make a damn
shrink it down
450, oh dude, they're gonna kill it.
Yeah,
and put better suspension on it out of the box.
Yes. The tricky part is, well, gosh, the Kove suspension's pretty good, dude. Like,
yeah,
dude, it is
pretty good. Like, I mean, Jimmy Lewis said, it might be kind of a Showa knockoff or a Showa copy. And they did a dang good job. Like, Craig, you remember, I'm talking to a guy in the comments. Craig had a XR650R. Kyle, you wrote it. I know you did, because you had it on that hill. We had some memories there. If the suspension of the Kove feels like an XR650R to me, and that might be bull. I mean, that's just my own opinion, and I haven't spent a ton of time on the XR650R, but that's how it is. So I think it's pretty good, because for something that weighs 320 dry with 50 pounds of fuel, to do what it does, it's pretty.
My
special.
first ride, dude, I was like, after about 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I can send it a little bit. I was like jumping it and just freaking like, I never bottomed it out. I was like, wow, this is impressive suspension, man.
Yeah, Craig says.
What are the specs on it? The specs say it's got like 12 inches of travel, is that just for the rally model, or is that in general?
No, it's both. Yeah, front and back, so 12 inches.
What other production bike?
Well, no, not the low one, Tyler. I've got the low one.
And not the low one. The low one's 10.
Yeah.
We're okay. Still, you're looking at 10 inches, and when you compare it to any other, we'll call it light adventure bike, it's still more than that. And 12 inches that blows my mind, dude. That a full foot of travel is a lot.
Yeah. I was on a trail today scouting, more eveRide loop stuff. And this trail was amazing. I wish I had my camera for it, but it just had jump after jump after jump. And they're probably put there for water diversion or something, but for erosion purposes. But you guys have probably been on trails like that. And it was so fun, because it's like every 100 yards, you're like, you're not getting motocross air, but 3 or 4 feet and coming down, and it's just cushiony soft. I got like 6 gallons in the thing. So anyway, suspension wise, it's just don't.
Have you bottomed out yet?
Not my own. I think they adjusted the suspension. Some people complain now that the suspension is a little too harsh. It was probably a little on the soft side on the demo version, and so they kind of like, went the other direction with it. So I haven't bottomed mine out, and I've ridden mine probably harder than I rode the demo bike, and I bottomed out the demo bike once. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's good suspension.
Think,
sorry, I didn't mean that. We've like totally changed the subject when you said suspension. No. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, I mean that's part of it, dude. That's part of it.
That's what we're here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What were we talking about though now?
Well, we were just talking about the Kove being made in China and the fact that
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's 100% made in China, and we're all using shit from China, guys. So let's just we can just kind of
Let it
dismiss
go.
that, I guess, so to speak. And
Like I said, as long as it's being ethically produced,
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Which, I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of us here in America, in fact, probably the majority of us, who really don't like our politicians, and they do a lot of dumb shit that we don't
Yes.
agree with. And guess what? People in China are just like us. Like, these guys are moto guys. They like to ride dirt bikes. Every time I see the videos of those guys and like people in Russia, I'm like, they're basically just rednecks like us. Like that, they just go out and they just want to rip hard.
Yeah, like, I had, gosh, when I write a script, when I wrote that Kove script, and Craig saw this too. We should add Craig to the live stream. No, but when I wrote that Kove script, it was like an hour and a half long, and I was like, well, this is too much. But I talked all about China and all kinds of stuff. And honestly, like, it's like, how much do we love everything about our own government? And it's kind of like, dude, maybe they feel the same. Maybe they can't talk about it. Maybe they love their government. I don't know. I would just give them the benefit of the doubt that some things they're like, okay, we live in China, or this is where we're at. It's kind of like, okay, we live in America. I feel blessed to live in America. I love our country, but sometimes the politics, I'm like, well, that could have been handled better, or, whatever. But I'd imagine they're the same way. I mean, not everybody's going to love every government official out there. So, we lost Mr. Allred.
He'll be back.
Oh, okay. China took him out. Oh man, that's not a good joke. That was a bad joke.
No, probably not.
Anyway, so as far as where it's made and stuff, my take on it is, the reason why China has a really bad reputation in the United States is because of most of the bikes that China manufacturers are not going to the United States. They're going to the Dominican Republic. I don't think there's probably not more than 100 motorcycles on that entire Hispaniola island, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, that aren't Chinese. Everywhere in the world is riding old Honda or Chinese bikes now. And so the thing is, those are marketed and sold for the bare minimum. You know what I mean? These are for third world. I mean, that's offensive to some people, I guess, to say third world, developing countries. But people who need transportation, very, very cheap transportation. And so, when those bikes come to America and we compare them to these high-powered European bikes, or, really just spot on, perfectly made Japanese bikes, we're like, oh, these are trash, but that's what the rest of the world buys. But the Kove is a little different because they're not marketing at all to, developing nations. They are more the idea of, hey, we want race bikes. We want this in the West. We want this in Europe. And so they're coming at it from a totally different view than, say, well, I don't want to mention any other names, so I won't. But that's my take on it. It just seems like the company's goal, Kove's goal, same with CF Moto's goal, is not to kind of cater to the budget motorcycle crowd. It's to kind of elevate Chinese motorcycles. And
it's funny that you bring up CF Moto, because I rode the 800 at the Revzilla rally, and it was impressive. I mean,
which one, Kyle?
What's that?
Which one?
The CF Moto 800. They're an 800 adventure bike, and it's good. Also, it's not the suspension is not good, but that's something that can easily be fixed. That's the first year, whatever. But I think it's got like 7.5 inches of travel, something like that. But anyway, another good Chinese bike that I think has some potential in the future.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between the CF Moto? Is that the one that Kove's making too? They're making like that 800X or whatever it's called.
No, CF Moto and Kove are different
Two different
companies.
brands. Yeah.
Yeah. Kove is really focusing hard on like racing. Like,
I was thinking GPX. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. CF Moto. Yes. They got some good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the things that I've heard about that, I've never been on one, but I've heard good things. And then as far as KTM actually has CF Moto build a lot of their stuff. And so it's something that Jimmy pointed out when he did his Q&A live stream was like, with the world economy, the world market, the way that it is, you send jobs to where it's cheap, and then you send the factories to where the laborers are, and then you get more advanced factories, and then you start getting really good stuff. That's what happened in Japan, and that's what's happening in China. And politics and all that stuff aside, it's just kind of the way manufacturing works, I guess. So anyway.
Yeah. This guy down by the river, he brings a really good point. So if you're listening to the podcast, he said, I think it really comes down to picking and choosing where our money goes. Sometimes we don't have a choice since we're living in a consumer-based society. So ultimately larger expenditures are, well, I couldn't see the rest, but yeah, that's a really good point, right? It's like, listen, this bike does not exist. There's no options. My option is to buy a freaking bike that is made in China, and it's an awesome bike and it rips. And so now hopefully this pushes all the other manufacturers to start doing it, and good for them.
Well, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell the future or anything like that, but I can tell you that if the Kove had a KTM or a Yamaha badge on it, we'd be looking at probably 16 to 18,000, like easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
100%, dude.
Because that's a trusted brand, and it's amazing. One of the comments that I saw earlier was, if the Kove is so amazing, why has, if the Kove is this unicorn, that was a good comment.
I like that. That's a good one.
If the Kove is this unicorn bike, how come KTM hasn't made it? And it's like, they have. It's the 450 Rally replica. They're $30,000 and they make 60 a year. Good luck getting one. And I saw, and I'm not bashing on any company. And the 450L is a bike that a lot of people love. They make a rally kit for the 450L that costs $15,000 for the rally kit alone, and it comes with the exhaust, the tank, the fairing, and a few other things. But
jeez,
I think the Kove is better than the 450L, and it's huge and it's heavier, and I just do. That's going to piss people off.
Dude, it's an opinion, right? Like if people want to get pissed off at opinions, and you can pound sand.
I've owned the 450L, and now I own the Kove, and the Kove is an amazing bike. That's what it is.
Yeah,
so
I agree. And talking about, like, as we kind of segue into this, like that KTM 450 XCFW, which last year they didn't make the 500, I think because they went with that one. And I bought that specifically because I was like, well, I want to have a 450 as both a snow bike and a dual sport, like kind of gnarly dual sport dirt bike. And I will say that definitely fits the bill. It's a badass snow bike. I do like the close ratio transmission of a motocross bike better for snow biking, but that XCFW, dude, it will chug down low. I've taken it on the same stuff I ride my 300. I'm definitely working harder. I'm like, yeah, I want my 300. CSC loves eveRide.
No, that's going way back there. Jake. That's going way back there.
Oh, I freaking love Jake, dude.
Who is CSC?
We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, it's another Chinese-made motorcycle group. But
I gotcha.
That's funny.
Oh, I did. I heard you talking about that, Tyler. Like, yeah, they blasted you or something. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? Okay, so that is that's a bike that is marketed around the world. And the CSC 250, the TT 250. I rode those bikes, basically the Dominican version of those bikes in the Dominican Republic. And, that's what most of the world is riding. So, and again, it's just kind of, compared to kind of Western market bikes, they'll fall short. But man, in the Dominican Republic, on those rentals that we had, that were basically TT 250s, CSC TT 250s, we were like the hotness to everybody. That they were like, oh, you got the nicest bikes on the island right there. And so, I mean, that's how it
awesome.
is. So it's just kind of where you are.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. So I think we've kind of beat that beat that horse there. So this is a good point. TA O'Neill, what sub $10,000 motorcycle is actually made in the country of the manufacturer? That's a really good point. I don't, at least not these type of bikes. Yeah, you can buy, cheaper, whatever other bikes, but not.
Oh, dude, I have a 2023 XR 650 sitting in my garage right now.
How much is that bike?
It's 7,200, 7,300. But
that's a great bike.
It hasn't changed since like 1989, or 1993.
Are you serious?
But hey,
dude, yeah. So it's Glovers. It's Glovers.
Oh,
and for anybody who's interested in Fieldcraft survival stuff, I have a little bit of a partnership with those guys. I build bikes and do their moto stuff for them. Fieldcraft survival. I'm not going to go into what they are. Look it up. But
check them out. They're cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. But I'm currently building a 2023 anniversary edition. XR 650 to be the ultimate bug out bike. If you don't know what bug out means, look that up too.
The bug out bike. That's right.
Hold on. Since it's the 50th anniversary of that bike, does it have the bold new graphics?
It does have bold new graphics.
They're bold new graphics.
So the only thing that has changed on that bike since I think 93, and some of you guys who have this probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only thing that has changed is they went to disc brakes in the rear at one point. So now it's got disc front and rear, and then now it's got a bunch of emissions bullshit on it that is going to come right off here pretty soon. But other than that, it's, dude, for a bike that old, the suspension is actually really, really good. Say what you want about the L model. I know the R model is better, but fuck kicking that bike, because I'd rather push the button any day of the week and lose a little bit of horsepower than have to kick that bike with my knees that I've had like 8 surgeries on. So yeah, that's my soapbox for that. But anyway,
button.
Be looking for that XR 650 L build.
I'm just going to highlight that and say I support this message.
Yeah,
I would love that, dude. Let's get come out here, dude. Ride the loop.
That's awesome, dude. So, all right, Kove 450. Let's get back to this. I'll wrangle us back in here
real quick.
That's
real
my job. No, go ahead, Kyle.
Tyler. So I'm actually going to be down in Utah with that XR 650 first week in November. Maybe I swing a little further south. I'll be in Spanish Forks. Maybe I swing a little further south and do the loop with you.
Let me
on the Kove.
Well, no, okay. So here's something about the loop. It's meant for a hot weather loop.
There's elevation.
Right? Yeah. So we just 2 days ago we were up in an inch of snow. It was amazing.
Sweet.
I was like, oh, September, inch of snow. This is rad. All the guys.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll just ride the Badlands then.
That's cool. Yeah, that's good too.
That's what I like to hear. Everybody's like complaining about snow. I'm like, dude, bring it. Let's go.
That's right.
Here. Let's go. Here's the thing, Tyler. Once you go snow biking, you're gonna be like, okay, I get it. I understand.
There's nothing like snow biking. I mean, people are like, oh, so it's like snowmobiling. It's nothing like snowmobiling. It's way easier. You don't have as much horsepower, but
yeah, but you don't need it.
You don't need it. You can go anywhere you want to go. Just point the ski and open the throttle wide open.
Yeah, this is the way I describe it. It's like a dirt bike, a snowboard, a wave runner, and a snowmobile had a baby. That's a snow bike. Like it's elements of all.
It was a big orgy,
things.
And there was one baby.
The Moto orgy mixed with the wave runner in there. No, it's
Kove.
Kove. All right, let's get back to the Kove 450. So Tyler has some time on it. He wrote it. He did, guys, if you haven't watched it, he's got a massive it's like 38 minutes. Tyler has I actually went and looked it up. Tyler, you got almost 28 million views, 166,000 subscribers. So you got a few people who've watched your stuff. So 28 million views as a whole, like across all.
I was like, that video has 28 million
No.
I
That
don't
one
even
has
look anymore. I'm so done with YouTube.
that one has 500,000 views. So people are very interested in this bike, and I personally think,
man,
yeah, I personally think that what we're gonna see from here moving forward is like, you know, in the industry I used to work in, especially, it was like, I think the Kove 450 is truly an industry disruptor. It's going to change the game. These manufacturers are going to be forced to listen to us, and they better freaking get their shit together and build one of these, because as soon as they do, it's probably going to be one of the most popular bikes that people are buying.
Oh yeah. That I think that's why Kove came out of the gate really strong, because they're like, if we just make like a, you know, kind of a half-cocked attempt at a rally bike, you know, somebody else will pick up on that. I don't know. No, they came out of the gate pretty strong. I have no doubt that, you know, Yamaha or KTM, obviously with Fantic and KTM Racing and Husqvarna and everything like that, even Honda with, Hero. Those guys already know how to make just an incredibly good rally bike, but never really took the time to like homologate it and kind of mass market it, you know?
Yeah.
But I think the market's there. You know, big adventure bikes like Kyle rides, they're awesome. I love the 1190. I wished I would have never sold that. But man, you know, I'm cruising down the road today, chill at 75 miles an hour. That fairing is right there. It's comfortable. There's not a lot of buzz coming through. I'm loaded up with all my drones and gear and stuff. And then in the same exact trip, I hop off onto a gnarly trail that, you know, it would be more fun and easier on like a 300 or something like that. But you know, the Kove doesn't. So
Tyler,
so
what? Oh, go ahead, man.
When you say when you were cruising at 75, how did that feel? Can I kind of walk us through that? Because I mean, my
Sure.
first thought, that the closest bike that I've ridden to that class, other than like a new production bike like a T7, is going to be my old KTM 640 Adventure, big gas tank,
Mm-hmm.
7 gallons. How was it? Was it buzzy, or what did you get? Like, what's some of your feedback you got from that bike?
Okay, so through the pegs, there's very little vibrations. It's smooth. I need to balance the front tire. It kind of has that wobble.
Yeah.
But that's something you need to do on any bike. But
I just got mine balanced, by the way, for our trip.
Yeah, good idea. There's no rattles. There's no buffeting coming off of the tower. It's comfortable at like 75. If you're wondering about the RPMs, it seems like the RPMs stick to about where the gear is at. So when you're in sixth gear, you're 6, at about around 6,000 RPMs at about 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Because I mean, to be honest, that's not a bike that I would be like, I'm gonna ride 75 miles an hour for 4 hours on end on that bike, you know. So, dude, that's awesome.
It's on the road. People, I don't know. People are gonna think I'm bullcrap, but on the road, it feels like an adventure bike. Off road, it feels like a dirt bike.
Well, when I rode it the other day,
for the record, I haven't ridden this bike yet. For everybody out there in the comments, I haven't ridden this bike. I'm riding it tomorrow. I'm here just to kind of like give my 2 cents on adventure bike stuff, which is very, you know, you say what you will about it, but I'm pretty excited about this because everybody's been looking for a small or a lightweight adventure bike, and people have made them out of 500s in the past, you know, by adding the fairing and all that good stuff. But one that comes from the factory with 8 gallons of fuel, you know, at that price point, I'm really excited about riding this bike tomorrow.
What's wild?
Let me get one thing straight about the 500. The 500 is way better off road. Like, you know, people are like, "Oh, you sold your 500 to buy the Kove." Yes, I did, but I also have another 500 because the 500 is amazing.
The KTM 500, right?
Yeah, the KTM 500. Yeah. So for your off-road kicks, or if you're like all about off-road and doing gnarly stuff and then jumping on the street, I don't think the KTM can be beat. But man, if you're looking for longer range stuff, you know, just like Jimmy Lewis said, if you're looking for longer range stuff, where you're going to put a big tank on the 500 and you're going to adjust the suspension and you're going to put like a reinforced subframe and all those things, but might as well just start with a bike that's built for that. You know, and the Kove does a freaking good job. So,
and you mentioned the subframe. I was looking at their website earlier before we got on here, and it looks like they already have some accessories that you can add for soft luggage, like the horseshoe, like the Moscow Moto Reckless system, or the Giant Loop. Have you, in your experience, have you used any of that luggage yet, or how are you doing that as far as your setup goes?
So for now, I've used 3 different types of luggage. First of all, and I'm going to make a video about this soon, so spoiler alert, the luggage rack from AliExpress and most of the other things from AliExpress have been pure trash.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like they don't even bolt on. You have to like drill things, and then it's just all warped. It's no good. So don't buy anything from AliExpress, except for maybe the steering stabilizer is actually pretty good.
Tyler, have you seen any, because I'm wondering about crash bars and just a better skid plate. Is there anything out there yet?
Nothing's out there yet. I think there's a company, it's on the Kove 450 Rally Owners Group. Gary put it up, but there's a company that's going to do what's that plasticky skid plate?
Oh, it's AXP. I saw it. It's AXP
yeah, okay.
Racing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're going to do that. I'm going to try to fab one out of some cutting boards because I think that's rad.
That's awesome.
Just
some cutting boards.
While that Kove, you know, that carbon skid plate is probably the coolest stock skid plate I've ever seen on a bike. Stock.
Agreed.
Man, I've mashed it up a little bit already. It's you're going to want some additional protection.
It's thin.
You know,
it's very
thin.
thin.
That carbon skid plate's decent for deflecting rocks and stuff from your front tire from banging up your motor. But yeah, for actually skidding across something or, you know, banging on rocks and stuff, it's that's not going to do the trick. So,
Kyle, did you just bring that up?
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this. It's very, very, very likely when Kyle and I go ride that this skid plate's going to get busted. Like
it's a good possibility.
It's a good possibility. So
this is what I was talking about. This is from the Kove website.
So that one's probably good. I haven't had an opportunity to test it, but the one that looks kind of like that from AliExpress was just not even close.
I mean, this
working.
Is similar to what others, and I hope somebody out there that, you know, like Outback Motor Tech or somebody like that who has good 3D printing, I hope they can make something like that for this bike, because I think their parts are, you know, the skid plate for sure. I mean, Outback Motor Tech is known for making the absolute best skid plates out there as far as aluminum ones go. So, and I mean, I'd say probably any skid plate is probably, they're going to be the best.
Yeah, I mean, a Chirby hopefully will do one. I'm hoping P3 makes a carbon one. Like, it won't be long.
Lori, if you're listening, I know somebody who has a Kove that you can come scan.
Yes.
Let's see. What else were we talking about?
Well, so you
that
rode
was the buzzing. We went over that. If there's any buzzing for 75 miles an hour.
Okay.
And that's what I was gonna say. The other day I rode at 80. I hit 87 miles an hour just to see. And it felt, I mean, I wouldn't want to probably go that fast a lot, but it was fun for, 10 seconds. And then I was like, well, if I hit something, I'm going to die. So I should probably slow down.
So
what about fuel consumption?
On my readout right now, it says 1.7 gallons per 100 miles. So what does that come out to?
It's like 60 something miles a gallon.
It was mathy.
Because that's what mine was.
So have you ran a full tank through it yet to see about how many miles a tank you get?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I haven't measured it really. I just look at the little thing on the screen. But
okay. I'm just thinking if you're gonna get for sure 250 miles.
300 miles easy.
Yeah, the GSA is averaging between 350 and 400 depending on your riding style. So, I mean, it's safe to say that it's got GSA
range.
Tyler, are you?
Range, yeah.
Tyler, are you filling it up most of the time? Like the other day I went on a short ride and I only put like 3 or 4 gallons in, and then I filled it up for another ride, and honestly it didn't really feel much different. I was surprised.
Yeah, it doesn't. So what I've just pulled up on my calculator was 58 miles a gallon, which is rad. So there's that, and then I have a tank bag on the front, and I'm lazy, and so I've just been filling it up when everybody else is filling up their 2-gallon tanks and stuff. I'll fill it up. And what's funny is I'll fill up the rear tank to the top, and that's a 3-gallon rear tank. So I'll fill that up to the top. And then I realized, oh, I'm like continually just adding fuel to this thing because, you know, you fill up the rear and then the front tanks equalize. And then, so I'm like, I wonder how much gas I actually have in this thing, because the fuel gauge, I don't know what it's reading or like where it reads from, but it's like I'll put 3 gallons in and it'll say it's full, and I'm like,
yeah, it's
wait
not right.
a minute. Yeah, it's not. So that it's reading from somewhere that doesn't take into account all 3 tanks. Let's just say that, you know.
And one thing that I've heard, and I think Gary may have talked about it, is that being like sectioning off the rear tank. I want to put just a little, you know, some sort of little thing to shut off the fuel, so that way.
Yeah, there's a clip on there.
Yeah, it'd be easy to do.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing it for water.
Hashimoto said it reads from the left side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Good to know.
And it does, as far as I understand, like, yeah, when you fill it up, it'll all kind of, you know, equalize itself after a little bit.
That's how the 640 was too. I mean, it only had 1 fill, but then the tanks married at the bottom and they would, you know, equalize.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we got Ian from Big Rock Moto coming in here. Dude, we gotta get all these guys. We gotta get a big live stream, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, eventually we'll get Jimmy Lewis on here too. That'd be cool.
Oh, dude, that would be freaking rad.
Does anybody think that Jimmy actually knows that we've been talking about him as much as we have in the last week?
I don't know, dude. That guy, he's a god.
Yeah.
This is the cool thing about. Go ahead, man.
I've met him twice. He probably has no clue or remembers me, but he's an icon for sure.
Yeah.
And now Big Rock Moto has Ian. Have you ridden it yet? I can't remember if he has ridden it yet or was gonna ride one. Do you guys know? I don't know.
So here's a big issue with the Kove is right now it's still in the phase where it's competition use only.
Yeah, so, in Montana that means it's road legal.
Yes.
Yeah, and in Utah and in Idaho and in many other free states.
Right, rock whatever you want. He said no, he hasn't ridden it.
So it's going to be hard to get and ride in California for a little while. The street legal version, from what I know, is going to be pretty soon coming. I think they said November maybe. But yeah, that's why a lot of people are kind of holding off because like, for example, Texas don't care. I can't remember what I was saying. That's how it rolls.
We're getting distracted by the comments coming in. You were saying that that's part of the reason, or that's part of the challenge right now, is because it's only competition use only, so a lot of places can't get it.
Yeah, and so a lot of people I think are a little worried about that.
And you were having some issues,
so.
Tyler. You were having some issues, Tyler, with insurance too, right?
Oh no, insurance was it added instantly.
I got the same one. Well, here's the thing, Tyler. I just called Progressive today because I got the same one, and it was like It was like $3.58. I'm like,
that's
so I go,
wild.
Well, no. So listen, it's liability only. I'm like, can I get full coverage on this? And they said no, because it's an imported bike. They're like, you see the little C on it. They're like the little C annotation for Progressive.
China.
Yeah, she did say though, she goes, some insurance places, some insurance companies will do full coverage. So I'm gonna check with Geico. Actually, I was gonna check tonight and see if I could get it full coverage.
I was hoping that, because I did all my stuff online. I did all my stuff online, so I was like, I probably just need to call them. But now knowing I hate phone calls, so
I know I did it. I waited on hold today, because I wanted to know for the call.
Yeah, so. It looks like I might be switching over all my motorcycle insurance, even though,
Elizabeth,
Geico, dude.
Is that a fact, Elizabeth? Do you know for sure? That'd be awesome.
Dude, so Elizabeth is not Elizabeth.
Oh.
Elizabeth is Michael. Elizabeth is the wife's account. That's Michael Varness. I just made a video about him. He's legendary. So just so everybody knows.
Michael from?
He's from Minnesota. Minnesota Mike. He's the best. Nice. I'll have to check with Geico though. That sounds good.
Geico and Safeco. Somebody else said Safeco. So
Crashy Moto said Safeco.
We'll check.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Good to know.
Smoky Beard Co. says, is it strictly a rally version only, or is it
Only
a non-rally
rally.
version?
There's only rally.
Well, so there's
three versions.
It kind of depends on.
What do you mean?
They're all called the rally.
Oh.
So there's the actual rally version with the carbon tower and a full titanium exhaust and everything. Oh yeah, you could show it on here.
Here we go. There's the
There we go.
pro race,
pro
but
race.
they're all the
Pro
rally version.
Yeah. And I pointed out in a video of mine kind of why, because I would have liked to get the race version, but then I kind of was like, the TFT screen on the standard version and the exhaust, I think, sounds better on the standard version. I don't like loud noises. I'm getting old. The TFT screen is a lot more useful for my use case than a rally tower. And then a lot of the things can just swap right over as well.
Well, like besides this, what else does it come with that's worth freaking $5,000 more?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that that.
Yeah, it comes with mousses. It comes with a real Scott steering stabilizer. The carbon tower, I know those are pretty expensive. And a lot of the stuff is expensive not for the sake of Kove's making it. Like the rally tower is whatever it is, I can't see it on there, but the rally tower is like an aftermarket rally tower. Same with the Scott steering stabilizer, like
carbon fiber aftermarket.
Yeah, it's adding costs not from Kove adding costs. It's adding costs because these are actual
MSRP
name brand, really nice stuff coming over.
This is what I'm excited about. Look at that. They have a different ECU. I cannot wait for the ECU tunes on this. We're gonna be it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. So from what Gary said on the Kove 450 owners group is, he's like, let's not play around with the ECU. They're doing a lot of testing and stuff in house to make sure that they can get the mapping correct. Because a lot of people are like I was like, oh, I want the rally map right now, but without changing to the rally exhaust, it'll just mess up everything.
The rally only has 3 horsepower more at 9,500 RPMs and 2 Newton meters more of torque. So it's not much different.
So maybe it was the altitude change because GPX is up at probably at about 5,500 feet and St. George is at like 3,000 feet. But I rode Sunir's rally bike that he raced in the Sonora rally and wrapped that thing out. And when I got home and took my Kove out, did the break-in, and then finally I was able to just rip it, it felt just as fast. Like, I don't even, I was like, yeah, the mapping would be so cool. And now I'm like, I don't think it needs it. Now, something you got to understand is like down low.
I do wish it had more low end. That's what I wish it had.
Down low, this thing feels like a 250L.
Yes.
Like you're riding at low RPMs and you're like, this thing is kind of pathetic.
but it's good though, I think, especially when people are riding off road, because if it's like, dude, you get on that KTM 450 XCFW and twist the throttle, bro, you better hang on to your panties because that thing will freaking wheelie right over.
Welcome
Nacho de Paseo.
That's awesome. Argentina, man. I want to come and visit you, okay, Nacho?
Yeah.
I'd love to ride in Argentina.
Come on down.
I'll bring the Kove to you.
But to your point, Tyler, the low end, it's very tame, very docile.
Yeah, that's changes. Why when I drag raced the KTM 500, my KTM 500, I was legitimately shocked. Like I was on the 500 and I had the rear camera on. I was like, I don't even need the front camera because there's no way this thing's keeping up. And because you ride it all day, and every once in a while, you wind it out and it feels good, and then, but you're mostly kind of low. You're kind of being conservative. You're not like continually just like rah, rah. So I did not think it would even come close to the KTM 500. So like in that video when I show the drag race, that's legitimate. Like what? Like full shock. Because once you rev that bike up, it moves like And the
Once
thing
you
is,
hit
the
that
shift,
like 6,000, 5,000 RPMs, you're like, oh, there it is. Turns
yeah,
on.
it's crazy. And I was so, I mean, again, I keep singing Jimmy Lewis's praises, but like, he's ridden rally bikes, right? Who of us has ridden a rally bike? Who out there besides, Skylar Howe's, the Benavides brothers or whatever? Like, nobody's ridden factory rally bikes. They just not out there. And so to hear somebody say, like Jimmy Lewis say, yeah, it has the power characteristics of a rally bike where it's pretty mellow down low, but then once you get up high in the revs, it goes. And he's like, is it super fast? And no. I mean, compared to these 450 rallies KTM makes, it makes 70 horsepower. Yeah, it's not that fast, I'm sure.
Right.
But dang, it beats the 500, which just blows my mind. I'm dying. I'm gonna do it soon because I'm actually on a rally right now with the guy who bought my 500, and then another guy is renting my uncorked 500. So we have a corked 500, we have the uncorked 500, and I have maybe questionably legal.
It's legal in Utah.
EPA, don't watch this. Yeah. I have lost the emissions equipment in a boating accident. And so I'm dying to do a drag race and see where the Kove stacks up, because I know it beats the one that's corked, even when the Kove is corked. And now I'm wondering, will it stay closer to that uncorked 500? So
okay, I got a question for you, Tyler, since we're talking about uncorked and corked. And real quick, two-wheeled adventures, what a front sprocket change. I know I'm planning to change the rear sprocket, which I believe it's a KTM sprocket. I definitely want a little bit more low-end snappiness, so I'm going to try that out and see what happens.
My thought, if you are going to be riding more, this is where it gets tricky. If you're going to be riding it a lot in the dirt, get a KTM 500.
Well, I have a 450 XCFW.
Yeah,
I'm just saying specifically for this Kove, I want it a little bit more low end.
As it is like it's an incredibly good light adventure bike. It's not, you couldn't, even for an adventure bike, like, it's awesome. So saying light adventure bike, that means like, oh, I've modded a KTM 500 or a DRZ to have some luggage. No, even for an adventure bike, it's super good. So for me, I really enjoy taking this bike out on a long cruise, and as good as it would be better in the dirt with the lower sprocket, and that's one thing that I do wish it had. Something that's really nice about dirt bikes like the 500 or the 300 or even a DRZ is right off the bottom of that throttle. I love the sounds we all make, right? We all get it. But right off the bottom of the throttle, that little you can kind of pop that wheel up a little bit, even when you're just putting along so slow. The Kove, you've really got to compress that suspension and raw and kind of like roll it on instead of just a burp. It's like a raw, and then you can get the front up, but it's not as easy as a dirt bike, right? I mean, again, you're working with a lot of fuel and those big pods. So
did you kill it? Like I know when I rode it for my first couple times, I kept killing it down low. I was like, geez, man, because I'm like trying to ride it like my 450. And so then I'm like, okay, let me rev it a little more before I'm letting the clutch out. And then finally it was like, oh, you just got to get the R's up a little bit, man.
Yeah, I ride it pretty low. I keep it, pretty low, but yeah, sometimes you do miss that, but in my opinion, I'm not going to change the gearing. I really enjoyed the road manners of the bike, taking it on twisties and stuff. So there's that old saying, it's fun to ride a slow bike fast. Like this compared to a T7, even a T7, or especially like a freaking 1190, 1290 GS, GSA 1250 or whatever, it's going to feel slow on the road, right? But there's something
what do you mean by that? Because like, I guess for me, not being an ADV guy, like it feels
those bikes are fast, and they'll do 90 like.
I see.
In a heartbeat,
just off,
right?
Yeah. Lots of low end, just very snappy.
And so the Kove, when you get up high in the revs in the twisties, it's really, really fun, because sixth is like a pretty tall overdrive, and then there's fifth and there's fourth. And so, on a big bike like a GSA, you know, you just stick it in a high gear and rah, and it's just got power everywhere up in those high revs, you know, 80 miles an hour and stuff. On the Kove, 60 to 85, 90 miles an hour is a freaking riot. Like, because you're downshifting. It's like, I mean, it's, how do you equate this? It's
dude,
like,
it feels more like kind of right. The thing for me is it was more like riding my 300 2-stroke because I was having to shift gears a lot, which I'm used to. And
it's
I was just
fun.
like, yeah,
it's fun and it's engaging, dude. And you really have to like think about it. And so like, and you're downshifting into corners and you feel it, you hear that whoa, you know, and that's the thing. Like dual sport.
Go ahead.
You know, you're like a dirt bike guy, and Kyle, you know the adventure bikes on the road. But dual sport, sometimes, you know, I get into the 300s and I love riding off road. The rallies are all off road based and everything. But dude, sometimes a twisty road, like we forget how good it is to ride on the road on a twisty road on a good bike. And so the Kove is actually it's a fun road bike. It's not the fastest. And it's not going to handle like crazy amazing like a street bike, but dude, just winding that thing out and you know, doing the downshifts and everything and hearing that intake, it's awesome.
Kyle, when we go ride tomorrow, Kyle, we'll have to take some time and buzz down to the highway so you can rip it on like the actual highway.
Where we have planned tomorrow, it's only a few miles down to the highway and it's a river road, so it's super windy. It's actually a great spot for that. Where we have tomorrow, it really is one of the best places to go to get kind of, we can get single track riding, we can get 2-track riding, we'll get dirt riding, and then we'll get some street riding all within 10 miles of each other. So it's great.
All right, so I just have to bring this up. I had to go up the comments a little bit. Nate says there's no effing way you'd beat his KTM 500. Nate's the guy that bought my old KTM 500. Guys, I've already beat that KTM 500 with the trophy.
So wait, beat him off the line or like a quarter mile?
Beat him in just a drag race. I mean, we didn't have it all set up professionally or anything, and it was on a closed course and whatever. Yeah, we'll try it. Let's try it tomorrow. We'll get Dan on the Uncork 500. Nate, you ride the other one. You ride yours, and we'll try it on the Kove, and we'll make a video and see how it does. Because I'm interested to know too. You know, it's just fun. So anyway, sorry.
That's awesome.
Right.
Okay. So who's this?
Oh, sorry. I'm clicking things that I don't mean to click.
No, you're fine. So, all right. So we're going to be riding this, like Kyle said, like Bam said, tomorrow and on Friday as well. Tyler, and guys, go ahead and start asking your questions now. Start plugging them in. If you guys have, and what I'll do is as people are asking them, I will star them. And then guys, I will handle the questions so you guys can focus on Tyler, especially you can focus on answering them. But whatever questions you guys have when Kyle and I go ride tomorrow, and for Tyler, what do you guys want to know about this bike? I know from the dirt bike crowd, you know, me and then another one of my buddies who's a really good dirt biker. He's never been into the adventure bikes. He just got this bike as well. And when we went on our ride the other day, I mean, we were pushing him pretty much as hard as we could. And one of the guys who came on the ride with me, he has a T7 and he's a freaking amazing rider. And he's been riding motorcycles since he could freaking pee, basically. I mean, ever since he was freaking born, like his dad's this, you know, big time moto guy. So anyways, he's a good rider, way better than I am. And we went out and we were riding. It was some pretty, like, I would say it's like gnarly 2-track, right? Lots of rocks and just, it was super fun. On a dirt bike, it'd be like, yeah, this is fun. On an adventure bike, he was like, that was the upper limits of where I was comfortable on that T7. Wow. And he goes, you guys riding on the Kove, he's like, it wasn't even a factor. And then he hopped on it and rode it. He's like, dude, it was like easy on that Kove. So that's from a guy who rides, you know, a T7 and then rode the Kove.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So I'm really curious what Cooper's gonna freaking think about.
Yeah, like I said, I am too, because I've always ridden, you know, bigger adventure bikes, and if it if it has all the glam of a bigger adventure bike handling on the road and then can do off-road really, really well, then man, that's going to be a great bike for a lot of people.
Yeah. I really want to hear your take, Kyle, because like, you know, we've heard from, well, Jimmy kind of like spans the gamut because he does adventure riding,
Jimmy's
the
got
hardest
everything.
dirt riding. He does everything. But like you're like, you know, big adventure guy. I'd love to hear what you think about it and stuff. Let's answer this question with the luggage.
So you want to read it though, so everybody can hear it, because when it's on the podcast piece.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
As far as luggage goes, does this bike have a full subframe to support panniers? So right now there's no, like, I don't know if there's any aftermarket thing for hard panniers. Right now, so we were talking about this earlier. I've used both of Rocky Mountain's rackless systems on it, and I've used a giant loop horseshoe bag, and those have all worked really good. Right now I'm using some luggage that I'm testing from South Africa called Adventure Addicts, and that, again, that's another market disruptor. I mean, you guys know I love Rocky Mountain stuff. Obviously, like Giant Loop, they're all good stuff. It's called Adventure Addicts. But you know, I love the Rocky Mountain thing, stuff like that. But I'm testing this Adventure Addicts luggage from South Africa, and it's pretty freaking rad. It has a big capacity. It's a lot simpler system than I've seen on any other luggage. It uses D-rings and stuff. I'll do a video of it soon. But a big worry that I had anyway. I'm using also a Green Chili Adventure Gear soft core rack. They have the hardcore one that has the tire spoons in it, and then they have the soft rack. I'm using a soft rack as my mounting points, and then I've mounted on all those different luggage systems. And initially I was worried that the luggage would fall onto the exhaust, because the exhaust is not routed under a plastic like on a dirt bike. It's routed to the side of the tank, and it comes up low to high like a rally bike. And so some of the luggage options didn't work so good. They're cooking something good downstairs. I'm so hungry. Yeah, there we go. We got the picture. What are you guys cooking down there? Leave a comment, Nate. Yeah, that looks good.
There, right there. I got you.
That looks great. So yeah, you can see there's space right there. But yeah, the luggage that I've got on it right now pulls it up away from the exhaust, which is awesome, because some luggage could be kind of a struggle on this bike. Yeah. But could you kind of show it from the back of the bike?
Sure, yeah.
Like just walk around. So the tank on the side there's no subframe traditionally, but it's all a gas tank, and it is rigid. Like, so yeah, and then get down low on it kind of, and then go to the right side just to where it kind of flares out over. So yeah, see how it kind of angles? It angles away from the exhaust. If you have a rigid soft bag, like something hard in the back of your soft bag, like I have drone cases in mine, then it will leave a nice gap between your exhaust, and my stuff's totally safe. So I'll get a video up about that soon. Yeah, and that actually that heat shield right there does a pretty good job. And I've put a Giant Loop Moto heat shield just above it, just in case those bags do sag down a little bit.
And this was from the first tip over. So tipped over, bent that. I'm hoping they'll make some guards there soon. And then that was from a little tip over as well. I was going to ask you, I've seen the hockey puck things. Do you have some of those?
I've got some on the way. Yeah, I think those would be a good addition. Luckily, kind of knock on wood, I haven't dropped mine yet. It's just a matter of time. I mean, there's.
Oh yes, yes. I was like 20 minutes into a dirt road ride, and that happened.
That was Tyler's passive aggressive way of saying he's a better rider than you, Kyle.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying.
I know.
Some days you have good days, other days you have bad days, and it doesn't matter who you are. You can. I mean, freaking Skylar Howe's incredible, and people who ride the Dakar and stuff, they crash out. It's just a fact of life. You ride a motorcycle, you're going to crash. It has nothing to do with talent.
It's not win.
has little to do with talent. But
Yeah, it's not if, it's when you crash.
yeah, that's the thing. You push yourself to get better. That's the way to do it. And you crash and you get
100%.
better. So
100%.
all right, let's
go to go ahead. What'd you say?
Oh, I said pulled pork. Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely what they're having downstairs. I'm sorry.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like this one right here. How much arm pump do y'all get on the Kove versus a dirt bike? I rode some pretty technical single track and 2-track on the T7 and found after 5 miles it got exhausting. Well, let me tell you what Rich Larson would say. If you're getting arm pump, you're not riding right.
Yes.
That's what Rich shows. He goes, every single one of you here, he goes, your technique, I'm just going to let you know that the way you're riding, he's like, not good. And that's the reality I found. I was like, damn, we all kind of, our riding technique is not that good. So proper riding technique will help with arm pump, but obviously it's a bigger bike. So
that's the thing, honestly. So going back to Jimmy Lewis, I hate to keep beating that, but one of the things he told me was that your handlebars are not for steering or holding on, and they're for resting your hands. So if you're getting arm pump, you're probably hanging on too hard.
Can I give you guys this is straight out of the schooling rally handbook. Something that'll help with your arm pump. And this doesn't really have anything to do with the Kove, because if you know, you could get arm pump on any bike. And maybe this is the gospel of Tyler. It might be total bull crap. But if your foot peg's like this, and well, let's say your foot peg's like this and your foot's like this, right? You're on the balls of your feet. If you will focus a little bit on moving, when you're doing a hill climb or when you're accelerating, when you're in that acceleration position, you get your body forward, and then focus on kind of using your foot peg like a boost. I call it Ironman boots. Pretend like there's those Ironman thrusters on the bottom of your feet. Too many times when we get arm pump, it's because our feet are really light on the pegs. If you push down on the pegs and put your weight on the pegs, it's not about a center of gravity. Fortnite pointed that out. It's more about using the big muscles in your legs. So I call it Ironman. If you put your boot like that, you're being propelled from the bottom of your boot forward. So maybe that'll help a little with arm pump, Kove or not. Hopefully it'll help you.
Yeah, and it's funny, again, being fairly new rider, but I've done, hundreds of tours now at this point on snow bikes and dirt bikes. So I'm having to teach a lot of people, even though, oh yeah, I ride motorcycles all the time, and I watch them for 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, well, you're not doing very good, bud. And especially when they go ride, I don't tell them that, but when they're riding, like most people that come ride with me, they've never ridden true single track. They come here and they're, oh yeah, I've ridden single track, and I take them on it, and they're like, is this how it is all day? And I go, yeah, remember we talked about this single track. It's 6 to 12 inches and it's very narrow, and that's single track. They're like, well, I guess I've never ridden single track. And so one of the things is, like you said, Tyler, is when you're putting your feet down too, is you're steering with your feet. It's all, you're leaning and you're not sitting there doing this. And that's where I see a lot of guys get arm pump. They're trying to manhandle the bike instead of like using their biggest muscles on, your body, which are your legs.
Another thing that's going to help a lot with the Kove, I had never really had a lot of experience with a steering stabilizer, and I just bought. Speaking of AliExpress, I bought the one on AliExpress. It's a total Scott's knockoff. Like, obviously, if you can support Scott's, do that. But my goodness, that thing helps a lot. Like,
really,
you're working with a heavier bike. The Kove is a heavier bike. There's no doubt about it. And just having that stability, especially, because this bike will go 80 miles an hour over like big old rocks, easy. Like, it eats baby heads, and like you're just ripping along so comfortable. And then you come up to that turn, and sometimes you get nervous and you kind of do that seesaw. Having those that stabilizer on there just kind of smooths that out, and you're in a lot of control. So for arm pump or for just stabilization, go get a Scott steering stabilizer, especially for the Kove, because it is a heavier bike and it's going to make a big difference. So
okay, I'm ordering.
I'm a believer now.
Yeah, I've never had one, so I being a dirt biker, you don't have a freaking stabilizer typically, so I'm gonna get one. Yeah.
I have noticed that the fatigue from when I rode the demo that didn't have a stabilizer to mine that I put a stabilizer on a day one. Man, I could ride I could ride the one that I've got all day. It's awesome.
Yeah, Ken Strode just said steering stabilizer makes all the difference, especially in loose stuff. It's arguably the best money I've ever spent. Wow.
I agree too, because
I agree.
The T7's the same way. The steering is very light in the front, and as soon as you put a steering stabilizer on it, it's a completely different bike. You get so much more confidence on it. Tex ADV, I do remember it was pissing rain that day, and I think that water hole you hit is what got your wrist, if I remember right. It was brutal that day.
Did you make a video of that?
Yeah, I made the.
Is that in a video, Kyle? Yeah, I watched that video.
Yeah, I made a video of it. I don't have a video of him breaking his wrist. I went by and I feel like a dick because we had leapfrogged each other quite a bit.
Speaking of, I'm going pee.
Yeah, we had leapfrogged each other quite a bit that day, and then he at this point was in front of me, so we just kind of blew by again. Actually, when you were down or when you were stopped, I hydroplaned like freaking sideways, what felt like 50 feet, which is probably like 5 feet, but that was a big pucker factor there too. I think I hit that same spot that you went down in, but regardless, hopefully it all healed up well. Looks like you don't have your AT anymore based off your picture. Maybe you have a GS or GSA. Smart man. So anyway,
you guys can't see what I can see, but Kyle took his phone in the bathroom.
I can see that now too.
Should we make it live? Wait, no, this is on my channel. Don't make that live.
Oh, I can add it to the stage.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. No, now he's looking somewhere else. Okay, that's good.
I forgot he had his phone live on there. Anyway, so back to the Kove. Thanks for the comment. Yes, I totally remember you, and I remember your wrap. Your wrap on your AT was like a multicam or camo. It was pretty sweet. I was had a little bit of a AT jealousy at that point.
Nacho, he says, well, I'll just read it right here. I already ordered the stabilizer on AliExpress, and they still haven't imported the motorcycle to my country. I did the exact same thing. I bought a whole bunch of Kove parts. I was really excited, and then. When it arrived, I tried to put a lot of it on. A lot of it was garbage, but that stabilizer went on really easy. They already have the slots pre-drilled. And I will say, please support Scott Stabilizers. That is just a direct knockoff. And I was just like, I'll try it. It works really good, though. The AliExpress one does, too. So,
yeah, Scott's is a great company. They make really good stuff. They're made in Nevada. Is that where they are?
I'm not sure.
Nevada, Northern California, or Southern California, somewhere in there. But I should know this because they sent me one for my AT years ago, and I did a video on that. But yeah, man, any bike that I get from here on out, that's the first thing I buy is a steering stabilizer because it makes such a huge difference for riding and even the, like you said, baby heads and all that good stuff. Especially on a bigger bike, things just happen, and when they happen, they have a little bit larger consequence. So to be able to mitigate that is pretty awesome.
What else? Y'all ever had a tank slapper? Those are the scariest things that could possibly happen. Anyway, I'd imagine it would stop the tank slapper. Something that you do have to get used to with a stabilizer, though, is it works when you're pushing, but when you're coming back to 0 degrees, it's no longer dampened. Does that make sense? And so if you're steering, it's going to slow down the steering to one direction, but when you come back to 0, there's nothing, and that takes a little getting used to. It's a little weird, but it's good. Yeah,
you kind of have to find that sweet spot as far as your settings go and how hard you have it cranked up. If you have it cranked up pretty tight, it's dramatic. I think I keep mine around 3/4 or so. At least that's how I had it on my AT, and that's where I have it on the T7 right now too. And that seems to be kind of the spot where it saves your ass, but it's not enough to where you actually notice it when you're doing like slow speed handling and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Kyle, did you realize that you brought your phone in the bathroom?
Yeah, I was listening to you guys, but I knew you couldn't see me on here.
Hell no, I couldn't see it.
I was so tempted to pop it up on the screen. It was just the side of the toilet. Okay?
Yeah,
that's all we saw.
No, I was listening in, so I didn't miss out. So Cletus ADV, he was just talking about riding his XR 650 on the BDR over his heavier ADV bike. Probably would have waited for the Kove if he knew then what he knows now. Yeah, would you agree with that, Tyler?
Yeah, you know
Like-
what though? So here, I mean, here's kind of my thought is like all bikes are pretty freaking good. Like the XR650L is still a good bike. You know, KTM 500, DRZ, all these bikes are really good. The Kove beats them by doing everything a little better. So I think that the Kove is actually quite a lot better than the 650L on road and off road. But still, I mean, it's a margin of maybe like, you know, I did that dual sport score thing. It's a margin of like maybe 1 or 2 points. It's not a deal breaker. You know what I mean? So really, like, ride what you've got and enjoy what you've got. But if you, you know, if you're looking to have it be a little easier off road or a little easier on road, then and you've got some money to spend, then yeah, Kove is awesome.
Well, yeah, because you can go get an XR 650L that's a few years old and again hasn't changed since 1993 for you know $3,000 or $3,500, and you can go buy a brand new one, you know, with taxes and or whatever your state requires paperwork for like $7,200. I think the sticker price is $6,900 on the website. So it's a great bike. I'll know more tomorrow once I read the Kove a little bit longer to know what my opinion is on it. But I mean, going from a GSA that's like, you know, up here on the food chain as far as adventure bikes go, and then also turning and riding the 650L, they're both super fun in their own way, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think the Kove is going to appeal very most to people who are either trying to lighten their adventure bikes or people who are trying to kind of adventurize their dual sports and dirt bikes, especially.
That's great. Adventurize their dual sport.
Yeah.
Totally, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said in the beginning, like, man, if you like being off road a lot, like the KTM is just one step behind a 300, in my opinion, a 300 two-stroke, which is one step behind.
I wouldn't say that. Me personally, I'd say more like the KTM 450 is like below a 300 two-stroke in terms of taking it off road. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm probably thinking more of like hard enduro type of stuff. Are you thinking more of like kind of desert race or
no? I'm talking about like hard enduro. Like I would say the Kove would be a couple steps below a 300 two-stroke. Like I'd much rather.
The Kove is no. The Kove is not.
Oh, sorry.
The KTM 500 is just a step below that.
KTM 500. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, the Kove off road is it's like an XR650R or a DRZ, maybe a 450L. It's kind of heavy, but man, the suspension's good and it tracks well. I don't know. It's tricky because it depends on what you're doing off road. If you want to rip 60 miles an hour over baby heads and stuff, the Kove is amazing. You know, I wouldn't want to rip 60 miles an hour over baby heads on even a 300. It's just built for that really high speed stuff. So
it's a Dakar bike, right? Like that's the thing that people got to remember. Like 3 of these guys, if you didn't know, 3 of them entered the Dakar rally. Tyler touched upon this, and you made a really good point, Tyler, in your video. 3 entered, 3 finished. Now, what did you say? Like 49 pulled out, 49 like,
and
bikes.
Some of those are obviously injuries and stuff like that, stuff that you never want to have happen. But you know, the saying was the Kove beat as many KTMs, Husqvarnas, Hondas, Fantics, which is Yamaha. It beat as many of those as it lost to. So yeah, it finished kind of back of the field, but when you add in those DNFs, the Kove was right in the middle, and all 3 finished, which is crazy. So a lot of people are like, I will never buy the Chinese junk. And man, the Dakar is a good test. Freaking Jimmy Lewis gives it the thumbs up. Like, they're coming out swinging. Like, I mean, it's not some gimmicky thing. It's a legit good bike.
So to kind of like get and wrap this up, guys. And again, if you guys, everybody listening, any questions, please post them in here. I think I'm really excited for Cooper to ride this just because you have such a plethora of experience riding so many different bikes. But I would like to hear like kind of what you guys think we need to, take away from this ride from the standpoint of for the average rider, because there's kind of three categories, right? There's the dirt biker, the guys like me that are like, maybe I want to get into riding adventure, but the big bike doesn't really appeal to me. There's the adventure bike guys like, Kyle, like your crew, that are maybe they haven't really done much serious off-road because those bikes are big. And then there's kind of the middle of the pack, Tyler, which I think the dual sport guys, right? That's a big part of what you're doing.
I just have to point out, Kyle does stuff on his Africa Twin that most people couldn't do on a 300. and then when he does have a problem and he drops it, he freaking lifts it like it's nothing. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Thank you. Hey, did you ever find my Honda emblem, Tyler? Remember that? How that Honda emblem?
Yeah, no, you know what? That is buried under like a new development.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
That's funny. No, it's funny. I ended up, you couldn't find those after a while, and actually ended up putting gold wing ones on there. Believe it or not, gold wing ones were an exact match, so I put gold wings on there. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I want to see some questions too, because tomorrow we're gonna ride half a day tomorrow, and we're gonna camp. We'll do a recap video tomorrow night. It won't be live because we're gonna be out in the sticks camping, and then we'll do a fireside recap, if I might mention. Don't get any ideas, Kyle. But
hey man,
and then Saturday we're gonna ride all day. We're gonna compare the T7
Saturday.
Did I say Saturday? Friday.
Yeah. I was like, I can't go Saturday. I got a dirt bike tour.
Friday morning, we'll get up and we're going to do T7 versus Kove. Again, I get it. When you compare displacement, they're not really the same bike, but when you compare functionality, they're very, very similar. Price point, they're very similar. At least the old MSRP used to be very similar. And then we're also going to compare the KTM 450, right? And then
KTM 450,
and then we're going to throw a wild card in there and go with the BRC 500 as well. So we'll have a little bit of comparison on a little bit of everything, and we'll make a video for you guys to see what our kind of opinions were on all of that. And hopefully we'll do a recap video after that, just to kind of follow up with you guys, and after you watch the video, to see what your thoughts were and if anything got left out.
So something I want to say about the Kove from the owners group and stuff is, when people, like, it's interesting in the owners group is because some people are saying the suspension's too harsh. This is, it's not like my GS, or it's not like my T7, or it's not like, and it's like, hey, well, wait a minute. And then other guys are like, this doesn't wheel up like my KTM 500. And the way that I can kind of think to equate that is like, hey, this bike is kind of like a WRX, okay? Like a rally car, okay? And some people are going to want a trophy truck. It's not that. And other people are going to want like a Toyota Camry, or like a Bentley or something. A Bentley. Have you ever seen? Anyway, you guys have seen the meme, right? Anyway, it is a WRX. It's not gonna boss whoops like a KTM 500. It's not gonna feel as comfy as a GS. Don't expect it to be those things. Expect it to be right in the middle where it's at, and yeah, you're gonna dig it. Yeah.
Well, here's my thought too. My thought too is I have probably one of the most honest. I'm gonna have one of the most honest opinions about it, because I don't own it. Like, I'm riding Kyle's. I'm not gonna ride my own. So I've got zero skin in the game, and I'm like Tyler. I like to give the most honest, and if you don't like the review and they don't say good things about it, well, then I'm just being honest. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm ready to ride a bike that it's like supposedly like the unicorn, right? It's gonna be like a unicorn bike. So I want to ride a unicorn.
And full disclosure too, no, I bought this bike with my money. Like, no one gave me this. I didn't even get a discount on it. So like, I mean, I'm just riding it because I was
price.
Like, yeah, you full price. Yeah, I saw it back, I don't know, whenever it first was talked about it, and I was like, yep, I actually put a deposit on 2, and then I just ended up buying 1. But yeah, Like,
I'm glad, because
he's
if you
gonna
would
be
have brought
honest.
two home, I would have bought one from him.
Kyle, you would have got it. Tyler, this is a good, he talks about suspension weight limit. I have no idea what the like weight limit for it is.
That's the second comment about somebody weighing 240. Maybe it was the same person and they came back around. But yeah, I don't know what you weigh, Tyler, with all your gear on, but I don't think you're close to 240. But
this is for the Bracken Pie boys out there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude. I gotta do it. I saw
awesome.
Nick into the chat, so I had to throw it in there.
Oh, great.
I weigh 200 now. It kind of sucks, dude. Kyle whips out the huge bicep, and I'm like, well, I got, I got a big belly.
Belly set.
For people who are into dad bods, I am hot. No. So okay, here's the thing. I weigh 200, and I'm probably packing around at any given time about 40, 50 pounds. And so, depending on what your riding gear is or what you want to pack on it, should probably be fine. If you're putting on like the heaviest boots and then like a huge backpack and slamming it down with luggage, you might need to make some suspension adjustments. But I will say
they're stiff. I mean, I'm 180 without, any gear. And like, I mean, I went down quite a bit on just the compression.
Yeah. I think one big mistake that a lot of people make is like, oh, I'm a bigger guy. I need a big bike. I need like a big KLR or a T7 to handle my weight. And it kind of is further from the truth. You don't need big displacement when you're big. You need good suspension. And I think the Kove would probably do it. There we go. Slick Nick's on my belly.
Suspension is key. Like I mentioned a minute ago. I mean, and the steering stabilizer is in that suspension category, right? But the first thing that you do to any bike before you spend any money on it for performance is going to be suspension.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Have you guys heard of this? He says over in the UK, the Vogue 300 Rally is getting a lot of attention. I've never even heard of that bike.
I've heard just a little tiny bit about it. When it comes to the Honda CRF 300, and is Jake still in here? Because he souped his up. That's a bike that I just have never really liked. The 250L, the 300L. We've had a couple out on rallies, and I've ridden them around. And
what do you not like about them?
Should we go there? I mean,
we don't have to. I was just curious.
I don't want to lose that many subscribers. I know it's a huge bike. It has a lot of people, a lot of followers.
It's all opinion, right? Like I don't know. I don't know why anybody gets upset about opinions. It's opinions, guys. Yeah. That's the whole reason.
So here's the thing, and it's my buddy Nate downstairs, the guy that bought the KTM, that's cooking up that delicious barbecue that's making with hot water. He says horses for courses, and I think that's awesome. Honestly, if you're riding chill trails and you want a bike that's going to last forever and just do the job and be fun and reliable, and like the 300L, 250L, awesome, great. You
meet the nicest people on a Honda.
Yeah, you really do too. Like that's how I met you. But if you want to kind of push that game a little bit and you want to start, hitting whoops, you want to start doing some more kind of hard enduro type of things, not necessarily like 300 two-stroke territory, but like just kind of pushing the game. The 250L is going to start to fall short, and so it's not like I'm saying, oh, that's a bad bike. It's just when you start to push it, I think that a lot of people sell them because they're like, oh, they ride something with better suspension. They're like, I'm going to do. There we go.
There it is.
Okay, Big Rock Moto can take all the heat. It's horrible suspension and no power. There, I saved you, Tyler, except for Jake. His is badass. Thank you, Ian. Like, okay, yeah, the 300L, it's just, yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Kove and the 300L, there couldn't be two different bikes. The Kove will rip whoops 80 miles an hour with 8 gallons in the tank, and the 300L would
fall apart.
Would fall apart. Fair enough.
Mojave Mike, yeah. So just to be clear, I did mention unicorn bike earlier. I should have used air quotes because I agree. There's no such thing as a unicorn bike. Everybody has their own riding styles, their own preferences on motorcycles. Like me, I like taking big bikes in places they shouldn't be, and some people don't like working that hard. So totally fine.
Yeah. So I mean, when you look at a bike's range of capability, a unicorn bike would be a 300 two-stroke off-road and a GSA 1250 on-road. Just ultimate comfort with hard enduro chops. And so it's kind of like, how far can a bike spread to either side? How far can it reach to either side? And in my opinion, the Kove reaches further than any other bike I've ever ridden. So, I mean, awesome. I think in my review, I said, yeah, off-road, it feels about as good as a 450L, which is not the very best off-road bike, but it's pretty dang good. And it feels about as good on-road as probably a little better than a KLR 650, which again, isn't the best on-road bike, but it's pretty dang good. And so you combine the two, and it did have in my opinion, it had the largest range of capability.
Do you guys know? I don't know what he's talking about. The AJP.
The AJP makes it. They make a super cool looking rally bike. Yeah, I have never even seen one.
That's GPX, right? GPX makes the AJP. Is that right?
No.
AJP is its own thing.
AJP. Oh, somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong.
Look it up.
Here. I pulled it up.
I've heard a lot about it.
Ooh, this is kind of
sexy. Yeah, they're nice.
What? How much are these things?
That's like
I want one of these.
Yeah, it's a hotness, isn't it?
Dude,
I don't think, just looking at it,
that doesn't look good.
Well, no, just like first impression looking at it, I don't think it's going to be as good on the road as what the Kove would be, though.
Huh. Who knows? I would love.
Do you guys know anything about
this? I believe, I don't think Josh Jones is watching this, but I think he has ridden an AJP, and he was.
Wait, cruise up to those specs again.
Yeah,
they had some specs. Oh, there we go. So it's a single cylinder, 600 cc single cylinder.
And somebody makes that engine, or it's a copy of an engine.
Dude, it's an Athena Get injection system. That's pretty badass. Wow. This has got to be pretty spendy.
Who knows?
No, they're like
I heard they're actually pretty cheap.
They're like 10 grand, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How have I never heard of this?
I would love to ride one of those, because I mean, okay, yeah, I have a Kove affiliate, but honestly, if people start building better stuff, it's like, oh, I'm in it for the best bike. I have no loyalty to anybody. So,
dude, that says 10 G's. Are you kidding me? We got to find one of these. 330 pounds wet? No way.
That's pretty intense, dude.
Is that it? The PR7? Is this? Am I looking at this right? Damn. All right. Well, we're not here to talk about that, but that is next on.
we gotta get our hands on that. That thing looks pretty sick.
11,690 is the price on it.
Okay.
Another bike that I was impressed with. My friend Chris brought out the Aprilia Touareg 660.
That is a cool bike.
That bike was awesome. Yeah,
that is a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of T7 reminiscent, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than the T7. It's
really,
I hate anybody who has a T7. I'm sorry. It's better than a T7. Somebody just mentioned
the price, right?
Very similar. Somebody just mentioned the 701 also. That is also, a really good option. It's going to be a heavier option for sure. And again, I haven't ridden the Kove yet. I will tomorrow.
Wait,
but
which one is heavier?
The 701.
I thought they weren't. I thought they were like 330. 320.
Yeah, they're pretty light.
Yeah,
they're light. But I mean, if you want the rally tower and all that stuff, and you're very limited on fuel at that point too, because you can only add so much fuel tank to that since the fuel's under the seat.
Okay.
So
the fuel tank's under the seat, and then they make an optional airbox replacement where you can add fuel on where the airbox goes. But again, I think you're limited to like 1.7 gallons. So I think you're only, I don't know the exact spec. Somebody hit me in the comments, but I think you're maybe getting 4.5 to 5 gallons of fuel at that point, maybe 6. So
got it.
Anyway.
So it's, I mean, I know you're Jake, you're really good buddy, Jakester. He's got one, and he got the Husqvarna, right?
Yeah, Husqvarna 701, put a rally tower on it. He loves that bike.
He loves it. Yeah. He said it's like riding a big dirt bike. And when I went and looked at it and stood next to it and just kind of sat on one, it definitely is like a big dirt bike, but it's a very different kind of, I think.
I'm gonna borrow that. He offered me to borrow it and do some reviews on it. So that'd be a good option. I might pick that up or have somebody bring it to me when they come this way. So
that is I mean, again, I'm a recent super Jimmy Lewis convert. Like everything the guy says, I'm like, yes. He he kind of said that the 701 and the 690s kind of, instead of feeling like bigger dirt bikes, they felt like smaller KLRs. Those are not
Which
his
ones?
words at all.
The
The
701,
KTM 690 and the 701s.
Got it.
Where they do feel they feel more kind of adventure-y rather than dirt bikey. Like,
yeah,
like
that's
DRZ
kind of the
dirt bikey.
OG.
Yeah,
kind of the OG middleweight adventure bike.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah, Big Rock Moto, Ian, he just posted here, guys. He says to buy a new 690 or 701, put a rally kit and tank, etc., you'd spend around 15K, and you still won't have the suspension travel to Kove. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, those don't have that much suspension?
I think 8. I'm just guessing. I think they're like 8.5, if I remember right, somewhere in there, 9 at most. It's similar to what the 890 has. So, it's basically a smaller version of the 890 as far as suspension and all that stuff goes. But people are going to freak out when I say that, because I know they're not even the same ballpark. The 890 is a better machine for adventure riding.
I don't dare ride an 890 because I don't have that much money, and I know I will love it. Like, just seeing people ride.
I rode one. I've ridden one. So 9.5. Yeah. So yeah, not that much. So I've ridden 890. I recently just totaled my first GSA like last month. And between getting a new GSA, I rode a bunch of different bikes because I thought, maybe I'll try something else. But I only owned that bike for 6 months, and rode the 890, and a few other bikes. I'm not going to mention them. And the 890 was awesome off road, but it's not comparable for longer travel like I have on my 1250, in my opinion. So
what do you mean not comparable? Like not as comfortable, or?
Yeah, and the 1250, like the GS has always been the king. Like, people are like, oh, the GS is more comfortable than like the Goldwing, and
again, that's everybody's. It's an opinion, but my opinion is that you compare the 1250 GSA to it can do most of the off-road that the 790 is going to do for your average adventure ride. Any BDR, if you can't take a GSA on that, then I guess they're not doing the route planning good enough. But I can't think of any BDR so far that you wouldn't be able to take a GSA on. And so
here's a good question. Is there just the one importer asking for the East Coast? I only know of GPX Moto, right, down in Utah.
Yeah, so
there's lots of dealers though.
There are lots of dealers. So
there are.
You know what, Eric? Just I would call GPX and just be like, hey, is there a dealer with some Koves close to me? Or a guy in the comments early in the chat was saying, he placed his order and the Kove was at his door in like a couple of days. They just ship it. Plus, if you use my link, here it comes, right? If you use my link and mention it, I get some money, and then you get $200 off. So
where do we go to get
everybody
your link,
wins.
by the way, Tyler? Where is your link at? So if anybody wants to buy the Kove 450, you can use Tyler's link.
You know what? Just go to like everrideadv.com/Kove.
I'm only saying that because Tyler's giving me 80% commission. Just kidding.
That's right.
Everyone.
This is all about money, guys. The Kove actually.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, terrible. Okay, so go there and they can do that. Yeah, guys, like Tyler said, you can go to the GPX Moto site. Here's a good question. I've been penciling these away. Do any of you know, or have you heard of, will they be doing mobile test ride for these similar to Kawasaki's Let the Good Times Roll test rides that go on around the country? I mean, it's a pretty small dealer network. I mean, it's, find a local dealer, I would say, and see. I know for my local area here, one thing I've done is I told our dealership, I said, hey, anyone who's coming to your dealership and they want to go do a ride on these, I'll knock $100 off my normal rental price, and they can take the bike out. And if they want to do a tour, I'll knock $100 off and go out and, get around and show them the areas. But I don't know really anybody else who's doing that kind of stuff right now.
GPX Moto has a dealer locator on their website. So, I mean, I know there's one in Nevada, Utah, New York, Montana. So you can just go and put your state.
There's one in Florida as well.
Yeah. So you can look at it by state on their dealer search.
Here it is. Where do you go to search?
Bike guys in Nevada, Reno, Nevada. I know there's one at Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, there's a long list of them. So they're available for sure.
Oh, here we go. Cool. Yep. So go on there,
but again,
guys. You can go
if you're far away from them, they'll ship it to you, no problem. And it's pretty painless to put it together. So
looks like Jersey Shore Auto Exchange is a bike guys. I mean, GPX dealer.
Kove just arrived at Panama. That's awesome.
What's this? Yeah, this wasn't a question, but sounds like you love the noises something makes, Tyler.
Oh yeah,
the raid
noises he was making earlier, all those engine noises.
No. So this is my buddy Craig. I have ridden like a handful, like probably 5 or 6 690s. Okay, and I just don't like them that much. They just feel a little funky. They feel funky to me. Okay. Craig's got one that's old. It's like a 2005 or something, I want to say. Is that right, Craig? And it feels great. Like, it's kind of funny, just the differences in bikes. He's got it tuned real good. So anyway, he was saying I like the sounds that his bikes make.
Oh, got it. That's what he was saying.
But the Kove does make, it makes good.
It sounds nice, dude. The Kove. Should I just start it up? I should just start it up. It sounds pretty badass, though. It sounds really good.
With the skid plate and stuff, like, just to listen to it, you're like, because it kind of has that. I don't know, but the intake is right there. Like the air box is right up by you, and so that's one of the things that they're working on to try to get it road legal. They got to fix that intake noise. What do
you mean? They got to fix the intake noise?
Well, just because of the noise coming out of that air box right there is. I mean, you'll know it. When you rip it, it's it's loud.
That's a bad thing? I'm confused.
To the EPA, everything's bad.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't follow. Like, what do you mean?
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, it does sound good. I actually, and I hate doing like cheap, crappy mods, like cutting board skid plates and stuff, because I don't want to like undercut people who that's their business. You know what I mean? Like, people who make the skid plate. I don't want to be like, oh, look, you could do this because it saves you money, and then hurt their business. Filter skins. You guys all know filter skins, right? It saves your air filter. It's basically pantyhose that you put over a filter. The Kove's air filter is like elongated. It's like a big old Twinkie. And I just got some dollar store pantyhose and lubed them. People take this out of context. It's gonna be weird. But no, I lubed them up with the no toil, and I slipped that over the filter to try to kind of reduce a little bit of the intake noise, and then also, and I don't know if this will work, but also to richen it just a little bit, just kind of restrict some of the airflow, because my bike runs a little bit hot. So so far so good, honestly. The pantyhose is like the fix. That'd be so funny if they just ship it with some pantyhose, and that's the EPA fix.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Give it a shot,
EPA
man.
is like done. Thank you.
Yeah, pantyhose, you're good. No, really. I thought it maybe would restrict a little the power or something like that.
Yeah.
So far so good though, and so it makes your air filter last longer. No, it's makes your air filter last longer. I think it is a little quieter, but then again, I got a big tank bag on there too. And then there's just a little sensor on the thing, and I haven't had any blow-ups or anything when overheating or anything, but the sensor does stay in the middle more often. It doesn't climb so high as it did. So I think from the factory they run it a little lean, and so I was trying to richen it up, threw pantyhose on there. We'll see if it works.
Tyler, have you? The one thing I hate about this thing is just the gas tank nipple. Like, you got to like take them off and like remove the fuel, because mine just get all freaking twisted up when I was taking the fuel caps off.
The hoses.
What's the trick?
The trick is get in a boating accident, and you can find out how to do the boating accident if you go to the GPX owners group.
I got
For anybody who the boating accident joke is like, the government doesn't want you to remove EPA things like the charcoal canister from motorcycles.
I did watch
when you do when you remove the charcoal canister, It actually gives the bike a little more power. It makes it run a little cooler. And so, you know,
That's
to each
happening
his own.
before our trip.
Yeah. To each his own. You know, I'm not encouraging people to break the law or, you know, pollute or anything like that. But that's one thing that solves that problem. And then you just get those regular little dirt bike nipples with the little
Got
vents.
it.
I've got 2 of those. You get them 2 for like $6 on Amazon, or I think 2 for 10 at Rocky Mountain or something. So
okay, so yeah, the canister mod, I saw that.
Yeah, super easy.
So this guy said, did you already answer this, Kyle? Let us know if the Kove is a baby KTM 890. Did you talk about that? Oh, okay.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think they're still in 2 different classes, both weight wise, and it sounds like it's got, you know, more suspension. So, which is crazy because WP is amazing. I mean, that is like the gold standard, I feel like, when it comes to suspension. So again, I can't answer that as a honest question yet because I haven't ridden it, but I'll let you know in the video if it's a baby. When you look at it, I think it's a baby T7. It looks very similar to a T7, but
yeah,
Jimmy, you know, like the T7 is not going to perform based off what I've heard today. That the T7 doesn't perform as well as what the Kove does.
Jimmy, the way that Jimmy Lewis put it, a guy on his live stream asked, he said, "Hey, is that, you know, should I get rid of my 990 or my KTM 450 or KTM 350? I think it was." And Jimmy was like, he's like, is the Kove in the middle? And they were like, yeah, it's like if the 990 and the KTM 350 had a baby, it would be the Kove. It's like, it really is like right in the middle. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, nailed it. I love this guy.
That's awesome.
This is Jensen here, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mr. Miller. Opinion on the survivability of the CF carbon fiber skid plate. Carbon fiber plates aren't common, so I'm just curious about how they'll hold up compared to an aluminum or an HDPE plate. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the live stream. That carbon fiber is pretty thin, and it'll do a good job to deflect rocks and stuff from the front tire coming up in the motor. But man, for a skid plate, something that you're gonna pop a rock on or skid across a rock, it's gonna crack it like an egg.
Here's what I'll say about that. Just from, I run all the P3 carbon stuff on my dirt bikes. They can freaking take a beating, but these are carbon fiber with reinforced like Kevlar and fiberglass. I mean, there's some gnarly carbon fiber skid plates. So in the dirt bike world, there's a lot of carbon fiber.
So A to Z Composites, if you follow me, you know that I support those guys, and he has made aircraft parts and drone parts for the DoD and all kinds of shit for years. And he's also made a lot of Kawasaki like racing parts for Kawasaki. And he recently started doing some more parts for, you know, here we go. Yeah. Recently started doing some more parts, and he has recently made some valve covers for the GSA and the GS. Sweet. And a lot of other parts he's working on. But Kyle, I haven't mentioned this to you, but we're actually going to shoot some of those when we're out camping to see how they hold up against like 9mm. And I don't know if we'll shoot 223 at it.
Like shoot with a camera, but you're literally like,
I'm going to actually shoot them because
we're bringing guns.
That's awesome.
I'm going to shoot them because, you know, I feel like that's a pretty good test when it comes to, you have a 600-pound bike falling on the cylinder head. How much, you know, force per square inch or whatever are we talking here? So I'm no scientist, but I know I can shoot guns. And if it survives that, I mean, it sells me on the, so I sell the Fort Guards on my website.
We should get some of the, does he have any that'll fit the Kove? That'd be badass. We'll put them on there.
What millimeter fork is that on there?
I don't know. On the Kove,
I think it's unsure. 48.
I have a couple sets I can bring and see if it fit. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, they make, he swears that the carbon fiber is stronger than steel. His carbon fiber is stronger than steel. Yeah. So,
and it doesn't like, I feel like anything metal skid plates for dirt bike, I hate that. It just like reverberates through the whole frame, and the carbon fiber kind of absorbs it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're thinner and generally they're going to be lighter too. So, we'll find out.
And I don't want to undercut any of the cool companies that support awesome moto gear and people who make skid plates. I love Outback Motortech, you mentioned, and you know, all those things. But I am gonna try getting some cutting boards seeing how they do. Why not, right?
That's
right?
awesome.
I mean, all right, let's.
So
yeah.
How'd you crack your case? I tried this cutting board option and
Who said that?
oh shit. No, I mean
Oh.
it's the same as a lot of the same material as a lot of the plastic skid plates you see
HCP,
nowadays.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, there's a guy on the rally here with the WR250R, and he's got a molded. It's a straight up cutting board, and man,
Wow.
it looks like it would do the trick. Like
Now we're sounding like Snowbike. Now we're sounding like Snowbike ingenuity. That's what the Snowbikers do. We like chop up.
That's like KLR ingenuity.
Right.
That's awesome.
Put a milk crate on the back and we're set, dude. The Kove's got the luggage. It's got the skid plate.
Craig's asking if people are finding replacement levers and shifters, rear brake shifters yet. I haven't seen anything yet. Have you seen any aftermarket stuff, Tyler? Or?
Yeah, I bought a couple on AliExpress and they were actually really good. It was I think a little expensive. I think it was $25 for both the clutch and the brake lever, but they are like nice CNC aluminum. And I thought I saw a post in the owners group where it is just like a generic kind of like it'll work. Like, you know, a lot of those parts just, you could put them on a Honda, you could put them on a Yamaha, you know, I think it's one of those. And so we need to find out the part number.
You don't know which one?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's in that owners group. That's a super good resource.
Yeah. What's it called? The Kove. What is it?
Yeah, it's just the Kove 450 Rally owners group on Facebook. And what's cool is it is run by Gary runs it, you know, but it's uncensored. Like people, you know, go in there and talk some crap about the Kove, and you know, he's not going to delete posts. He's going to keep it going. And then, you know, yeah. I mean, you get posts like that are like, oh yeah, get yourself some KTM. Get yourself some KTM graphics, and it's like, wait, why would you put KTM or Honda graphics on a Kove?
Yeah. That's funny. So guys, go check out, if you have questions, go to the Facebook group, the Kove Moto. That's going to be a good resource. It sounds like. Ian from Big Rock Moto, I was just thinking, since he's on here, I think he did a live stream the other day, but if there's any specific questions you had too, Ian, let us know. That'd be awesome. There was this guy, DRZ Rider. I don't know if you guys know him, but that was funny. Making my night at work building jets at Boeing go by a lot to I just want to leave and go ride.
That's freaking cool.
That's rad, dude.
That's awesome. Glad to help. Glad we can help.
That's awesome. Kyle, this down by the river, this is a good point. Yeah, when we shoot it, you saw that probably.
Yeah, I did.
We'll shoot it a couple. Actually,
I've got a full set, so we have options.
Yeah,
and I think a 45 would. I think a 45 is smart too, like you said, because that's a bigger chunk, lower velocity.
Right.
So
we'll shoot it with the 10 mil too. With
we'll
work
our way up. We'll work our way up.
Yeah.
You guys are just gonna be hauling all your guns.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's normal anyway. Hey, so real quick, Crashy Moto, you said that A to Z is working on them now. So you've heard that Charles is working on skid plates. Is that what you're talking about, or what all are we talking about here? Because I'm pretty close with Charles that have not heard that. So that'd be awesome if he's working on a skid plate right now.
That'd be badass. I want one.
Let me go up here.
That'd be great. Here I got some more starred here. What was this? Oh, that's funny. After the Idaho BDR, I found that anyone riding the GSA 1250 was either a venture capitalist or Ewan McGregor. So it's nice to see someone that kicks some ass on them that doesn't fall into those categories. That's awesome.
That is Kyle.
Killing it.
Yeah. Mr. Cooper.
That's funny. I think we got just about all of them now, guys. Here we go. Yeah, Ian's got some good stuff. Oil capacity, suggested service intervals. No, we didn't cover it. They talk about it. I actually just changed my oil. I don't have any oil filters
I did
yet. Did you? Yeah, I only had 200 miles on mine. It didn't look bad at all. I mean, it kind of your break-in metal shaving, you know, whatever, from the clutch and everything. But how's yours been?
So oil is good. Yeah, I pulled it out. You know, had normal amount of shavings and stuff like that. Oil capacity is 1.8 if you're doing like a rebuild, and 1.6 if you're just changing it out. And then the service intervals That's kind of funny. Depends on who you ask. Like Kove Racing says it's one thing, GPX says it's another thing. It's kind of all over the board. The interesting thing is, though, on your computer for your Kove is you go to reset the interval, and I think it's 5,000 kilometers. So like when you reset the computer, telling the bike, hey, I changed my oil today, the bike itself says 5,000 kilometers, which
it's like 3,000
we'll
miles
bring up another
right? Something like
I
that.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
3,200 miles.
There is a couple things that I thought was really stupid, in my opinion, on this motor, or just silly. There's no window to check your oil, and there's like no dipstick. So I saw a hack. Yeah, dude. So a guy, he cuts a
drill the hole inside the motor.
Yeah, drills he cuts a zip tie a certain length, and you use the zip tie as a dipstick. So that's kind of janky. I was like, you guys, why didn't they put a little window in?
Somebody will make some kind of aftermarket dipstick for it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Here we go on the mileage then. 3,106 miles.
Okay.
So yeah, about a 3,000 mile oil change interval. After changing the oil today, what did you think, Kyle? When I changed it today, that's one like a big concern I actually had was the ports on the side where you pull out the fine filters, and then the bolt on the bottom. Those things were torqued to the freaking moon.
Yes, I mean, it was definitely not what is it, like 11 to 13
like
Newton
24
meters. That shit was like 50 Newton meters, man.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about that, but everything went back on fine, and no leaks or anything like that. But dude, out of the factory, they my friend, he's on here, his name Dirt Bike right there. He says somebody He-manned him down, and yes, they did, man.
He-manned him down. Yeah. And I mean, that was the other kind of silly thing, that the exhaust is in the way of two of the screen and the oil filter. And I think that's because the motor was designed obviously way before the bike. So it's an annoyance, but it's like, how often am I taking off the exhaust? Right. Not that
well, often. And the exhaust was 2 bolts, 3 bolts if you count the thing, the collar that loosens around.
Yeah, the collars.
It's really not
right. Yeah. This guy, he said, how about valve adjustments? I don't know. I don't remember what it says. I've got the manual around here somewhere.
So the interval, but what about just looking at it? What do you think the process is it going to be fairly easy to get to the top of the motor to do valve adjustments?
Oh yeah. The tanks come off pretty easy. That is one tricky thing, actually. So the seat comes off super easy. It's just that little clip. And then to answer the question, I think the valve adjustments, and I could be totally wrong, I think they were 5,000 miles. So not insignificant, not like, a Toyota Camry type thing, but.
Or like the T7's like 12,000 miles, it says.
The ATS too, yeah.
Yeah. 6 Ugga-Duggas. That's how they did it in the factory.
Or this one, He-Man China Tight.
He-Man China Tight. Yeah. He was the one that initially said the He-Man. That's what he said.
Oh, that's awesome.
Let's see. Oh, crap. Oh, we were talking about the maintenance,
valve.
pulling off the tank.
Yeah, maintenance.
So the tanks will actually come off pretty easily, and you have to take off the left tank to do that canister removal. The tricky thing is like, you've got fuel lines and stuff coming out of the tanks. And so what I did was I just hung them from the bars, because they're still like, you can't just pull them off and then like disconnect one little tube like a DRZ or a carb bike. You've got like some equipment that's like on there. And so when you take the tanks off, you've either got to remove the equipment and deal with that, or what I did was I just hung them from the bars with some like baling wire. Anyway, there's that for you. So it shouldn't be too hard to get in there, but yeah, to completely remove the tanks, that could get kind of messy, actually.
Yeah. Do you have to remove that left tank?
To do the canister removal, yeah.
Okay.
But dude, that's super easy.
Yeah.
And I would also, on any bike, every bike, I would recommend getting rid of the kickstand safety switch, which will always fail at the worst time, and the clutch safety switch. You gotta keep in mind, kick your kickstand up, otherwise you'll hit it and high side. And also, your bike will, if you remove it, your bike will now start in gear. But yeah, that's all been shown in that owners group as well.
That's a total adventure bike thing, isn't it? Because the first time I rode my T7, I was like trying to start it with the kickstand down in gear. I was like, what is going on with this thing? I'm so used to just starting the damn bike. So anyways, it must be an adventure bike thing.
Well, and I've had guys come out on rallies that have been racing for years. They're amazing riders, amazing with all the tech. And then in the middle of the trail, they're like, "Oh, kickstand safety switch," and they're like, "Why won't my bike work?" And you always look for the really difficult things, or you have horror stories, and you're like, "Whoa, did I hydrolock my motor?" And then it's a safety switch, and it's like,
Kyle, were you saying something, Kyle? About
we were talking about valve adjustments, and to this date, my worst valve adjustment is that fucking that Africa Twin. It is so bad to get to.
And you did it yourself?
Yeah, I did a video on it. I mean, to save money, right? Because you bring it into Honda and it's super expensive because it takes 3 hours just to get to the top of the motor, and then it's another couple hours to adjust it, right, and then put it all back together. That's one thing. If they could ever change anything on the Africa Twin platform, it'd be the maintenance stuff, because even changing the air filters is a giant pain in the ass. Anybody who owns one knows that it's dumb. And if you have crash bars and all that kind of stuff, then it just gets in the way. And so, yeah, that's that side note. But
that's another thing that I mean, my 1190 was the same way. To fix like some simple things was a huge nightmare. And I think it is because they want you to take it into the dealer to have it serviced. And so they're not like, it's like that whole right to repair thing. It's not like they're not letting you repair it, but when they design it, they could make it way easier for things to be repaired. ABS.
That's super annoying. I'm actually want to disconnect that tonight before I ride, because it's like 3 things you got to like go in there, and you have to turn it off every single time you turn the bike off.
Yeah. Tyler, is it off-road ABS to where the front wheel does not lock up, but the back wheel will go freely?
Yeah, both.
I don't even know, but dude, what I can say about that,
right, Tyler?
Yeah. And when you turn it off, it does awesome. And I have noticed on the road in like some quick stopping situations, it actually was nice to have. But off-road, that your lever, it jumps. It's like, and you notice, I'm not stopping at all. Like, so a lot of people are disabling the ABS. It's kind of annoying to go through the computer. It's 5 button presses, but still, like when I'm out there filming people and I've got the camera on them and they ride past, they look cool. I put my camera away and I need to catch up to them ASAP.
Yeah.
It is annoying to be like,
if you leave the key on, but kill the bike with the kill switch, you still have to do that
No, it stays off. It stays off.
Yeah, it stays off. But
I guess
I need to do that. I hate using the kill switch. That's one thing that I would change on the Kove. I do not like push button kill switches.
Yes.
Because they always get dirt and gunk in there. Yeah.
Oh,
they always get gunk in there.
Not a toggle.
And that's one of those safety switch things where suddenly you have an electrical gremlin and you're like, why won't my bike start? And it's because there's some gum in there. And I do not like the push button thing, but so far so good.
That's a good point. Well, I know we're like sitting at almost 2.5 hours now.
Yeah,
Tyler, you're probably starving, and I know Kyle and I still got to pack and get ready for tomorrow.
Too.
So,
yeah,
me too. So anything else, guys, before we wrap up here? I think we covered a lot and then a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, we'll be having a video on this, similar to how Tyler did it as well. We'll give our opinion. And then we'll.
It's not going to be near as like detailed. I'll tell you that much. I ain't doing that.
Professional.
Hold up. So this is my friend here. He says it's 1 fuse. So
for what?
For the ABS. So if you don't mind, put that in the owners group. That would be cool to know, because I didn't know that. I saw the one guy like pull the whole thing off, and he said it was kind of a chore. So if you could show us what the fuse is to disable that,
to be able to disable it for like the day, like when we're riding. Just
Yeah,
that's
that would-
probably
that'd be really cool.
pull the fuse under the seat that says ABS and you're done. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be legit.
See, we overthink
Yeah.
shit.
Todd is dirt bike. I don't know if he wants me to say his real name because he's got a job like Kyle used to have, if that makes sense.
Post it
Sometimes those
on
guys
here.
They don't like their names out there. So anyway, Todd's freaking awesome.
Fair
Kyle, you
enough.
disappeared.
Oh yeah, my camera died, I think, or something. There we go.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm back. So yeah, we'll wrap it up here, guys. Everybody, thanks again for joining in. Alan,
yeah, this was fun.
What's that?
This was fun.
We'll
That
have to
was
do it
fun.
again. Yeah, we'll have to do it again, and we don't have to go edit anything. That's the beautiful part. We're done.
Boom.
That is nice.
Hey,
Hell
Alan, yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Tyler, thanks again for joining, and it's been great. Super pumped to go ride the bike with KC here, and we'll give you guys a good review.
Sounds good, guys. Hey, thanks again, and yeah, look forward to the review and also the new video coming out. So keep out watch for that. I'm not even sure. Are we posting it on my channel, your channel, both channels? We'll do both, maybe.
Yeah, we'll post it all over.
Yeah, you'll see it. Just keep an eye out. Thanks, Tyler. Have a good one. Go get some food. Peace out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Rock and Stone, Jensen.
Thanks, guys. All right.